Yep.
I think we should check that before we share before we share the other one.
There it is. YouTube.
Let's share the rest. Check that before we share the information. Well, welcome back to Live on Patrol. We got a couple missions today. Well, our top priority is always stopping carjacking and catching criminals. And we're happy to report the last 2 days we really haven't had a carjacking since we made several arrests here in the last 3 days. But our other mission, we have two other missions. One is to make sure the phone is working on YouTube. As you know, last Friday we had a little glitch and the phone didn't work. And our final mission is celebrating the end of winter. Because if you're not from Minnesota, I gotta tell you, you probably aren't following the weather report, but right now it's 21 degrees. We had our light snowstorm. We have snow on the streets, but tomorrow is the beginning of a 10-day stretch. It's going to be in the 40s for a couple days, and it's actually going to be in the 50s.
Yep. We got a warm week coming up.
3 days in the 50s, and all 3 of those days there will be the low temperature at night will still be above freezing. So we're going to get a ton of melting. And today is the last day for people to get their fish houses off the lakes in Minnesota, at least the southern 2/3 of Minnesota. Actually, yesterday might have been the deadline. But if you got a fish house out there, get it off because it's going to melt fast. There isn't a lot of ice up in northern Minnesota, but with this type of weather, it's going to melt very, very fast.
Not going to be around for long.
In case you're wondering, we're eastbound on Maryland at Johnson Parkway. You can tell how much nicer the picture is during the daylight. How about that blue sky out there?
It's beautiful.
Just gorgeous. I'm Bob Fletcher. I have the privilege of serving as your Ramsey County Sheriff, and with me is Pat Scott. Pat Scott, Analyst Officer Extraordinaire. What do you got for us today, Pat?
Well, you know, this is I want some folks, this is not a carjacking, but I want some folks to be keeping an eye out for a stolen car that was taken from Atlantic and Bush overnight. And it's a family that really needs the vehicle. And I want you to keep an eye out for it, please. It's probably going to be somewhere on the east side. It is a red 2015 Mitsubishi Outlander, which is a, one of the smaller SUVs. And the license plate on it is 0484BA. B as in boy, A as in Adam.
721 East 4th Street.
Hang on a second. Okay.
467, show me route. 367 en route.
Sorry, I was just checking on that address. Red Mitsubishi.
Yep, and the passenger side view mirror is broken and is hanging loose by the wire. So this is going to stand out. Let's help Yvette get her Mitsubishi Outlander back. So if you see this moving, go ahead and give a call to 911. If you see it parked and unoccupied, call the non-emergency number 291-1111. Let's get Yvette her vehicle back.
9273.
What a gorgeous day.
Absolutely.
And it's only 20 some degrees. Wait till it's 40 tomorrow.
Gonna be something. I'm ready for it. I don't know about you. I am ready for warmer weather.
Get to travel hardly at all in the last year because of COVID. Echo Juliet Bravo 937. I want you to know that today I just had carrots and celery for lunch.
You did?
And a little bit of hummus. A little bit of hummus.
303.
I had
303.
I had coffee today.
Ew.
Negative.
Copy.
Carrots, celery.
When you do, I need you for a detail. Exactly.
The hard part, though, is my wife, who doesn't go out to lunch often, to be honest with you, was out with friends to lunch at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, it's a good spot.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but it's some really good food. And so I told her, you better bring me home a cheesecake, right?
You'd think.
Cheesecake. So we don't often work at 1:44 in the afternoon, so it's 1:44 on a Monday. We'll see what happens. Bravo Mike 371.
Search 1.
35.
New message. New message. New message.
Copy, searching for you.
Right now, I think as we speak, just in terms of updates for things that could be a factor, we deliver the news without any opinion, but there's a hearing up at the appellate court regarding whether or not to allow the additional charge of a murder 3 added to a murder 2 and a manslaughter 2. You'll probably read more about that in the news.
Clear report.
In another 15 minutes, there'll be a press conference held by the Department of Public Safety on preparations for the trial next week. We have a representative there. Our Undersheriff Mike Martin will be representing the Sheriff's Office there in partnership with all the other public safety agencies that are working to ensure everyone is safe, property is protected, and the right to peaceably protest is preserved. So you might see that on the web there if you got 2 computers here in the next 15 minutes. How about those Minnesota Wild? What do they want, 6 or 7 straight now?
Unreal.
That's amazing. And I don't know if you saw that last game. I think it was the last one. They scored with 0.3 seconds left.
Really? Was that the game-winning?
Yeah, in overtime. 0.3 seconds left in overtime.
Holy
It
smokes.
was in overtime. And it was an unbelievable play. There was like 4 seconds left. Was dumped in at the blue line. One of the Wild players backhanded it out in the slot. And in overtime, they play 3-on-3. Unless you get a penalty, then it's 4-on-3. And then when the penalty gets killed, then it's 4-on-4.
New message.
I think it was 4-on-4 at that moment.
New message.
And they left Dumba unprotected as he slid into the slot. was an absolutely unbelievable play.
2.0.
Ah, awesome.
Congratulations to the Wild. Well, thanks for joining us. If you are joining us, I guess if you can hear me, you are. On this beautiful sunny Monday. I know a lot of people are at work, but it seems like we have more and more viewers from around the globe that might not actually be at work at this time. So we're on 7th Street, headed westbound. We're on East 7th Street, headed westbound.
Have you noticed that after several arrests last week of some of our more active carjackers, we have gone from several carjackings a day to none over the weekend.
Yeah.
Zero.
Small number of people committing a large amount of crime. Small number of people.
Makes a difference. Get them off the street.
Speaking of that, I heard a fact on TV the other day, which I don't know if it's true. Speaking of percentages of the number, because we always say that it's 5 to 10% of the people committing 80% of the crime.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard a fact on TV that I gotta double check, I gotta verify this. 5% of the people in America drink 50% of the alcohol. That's an amazing fact.
Yeah, it really is.
I forget what the debate was at the time, but 5% drink 50% of the alcohol. This kind of reminds me of the old days too. You know, we worked midnights and afternoons, but remember, you worked days a little bit, or at least the early part of the afternoons, you know?
Yeah, my last 3 years or so I spent on days.
Yeah. I didn't work many days, but this is... I would think I said about one of the few days I worked days, it was great to have the kids wave to you.
Mm-hmm. That was always nice.
With the full hand.
A five-fingered wave.
Five-fingered wave.
And it was, you can, a couple things I always noticed was being able to identify cars more easily. You know, the make and model and color. And very few people who would flee on foot ended up getting away in the daytime.
Yeah. Good point. They lost the cover of darkness. That's why I told you we need to have a big reflective satellite hovering that can reflect the sun from the other side. When we need it for a pursuit, we just light up
I like that idea.
a mile square area.
I like that idea a lot.
As long as you don't focus it too tight in it, it's like a magnifying glass burning things within sight. Wow, this is an exciting day. Thinking about summer.
Squad to assist from westbound traffic. 45. 142.
I was waiting for the other sergeant to respond.
135142 at 780 Aurora for shots fired. 5 to 7 shots from the south. Heard a vehicle leave right after the shots, unknown if it's related. Got a second caller from Fuller and Avon. 14 shots heard from the east of Fuller and Avon. Heard a vehicle drive off towards the end, unknown if related.
We're going to have to call Rev Spence. He lives right there. See if he can check on it. Call Rev Spence.
Those are the little details that
Calling Rev Gerald Spence.
were added in, like the vehicle heard taken off, and the different callers that leads you to believe it's a legitimate shots fired.
Yes, sir.
Rev Spence,
The older white male wearing black.
you're live on patrol, but I want to let you know there was a shots fired at 780 Aurora and Fuller on your block. If you want to make sure everything's okay there.
I'm on my way.
All right. Check with
Thank you,
check
sir.
with your lovely wife. Make sure she's okay.
She better be at work.
Call
Right?
call me if you find out anything from your neighborhood.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
So is that on 3 primarily?
Well,
Each one year,
I
very
switched it to 1 so it wouldn't get jumped.
Okay, I'll go to
wouldn't get jumped.
I'll go to 3.
Yeah, we can leave yours on 1. That's fine. I'll put this on 3. We'll just use yours for there, but no scan.
Right.
So, as you know, there's some tension between the East gangs and the West gangs. The West gangs, sometimes referred to as the
going to be reporting as soon as more shots fired.
Selby-siders,
131.
and the East gangs that are multi-fractional gangs over here in the East, but there's some tension over the gloating and taunting that the West gangs have done about the death of Raymond Hobbs. So we've had tension for the last 3 days. Nothing spilled out. But we've been anticipating some type of retaliatory shooting, even though it was not an adverse gang. It wasn't a West gang that was involved in the shooting. So this could be the beginning of it.
Yeah, some of the taunting going on social media was beyond disturbing. Not going to go into any details on it, but it was quite frankly sickening.
So obviously, if you watch us at nighttime, you know we move pretty quickly after 10 o'clock. But during the daytime at 1:55, there's too much to maneuver around. We have to rely upon the proximity of officers in that area. Just do the job a little differently, maybe looking for cars that are fleeing at a high rate of speed, or we're waiting for a more complete description, see if any witnesses have more that didn't call once the squads get there. But it wouldn't be unusual for a drive-by on that side of town for the suspects to flee to the other side of town.
Correct.
So what route they go, 3 or 4 different routes. Freeway, probably the top notch. Cayuga, University Avenue.
Maryland.
We're going to slide up to University here and just follow that over down.
245.
Maryland, yep.
We'll be transporting 1 to 930 Ivy Avenue East.
And if you haven't seen the beautiful Ramsey County Sheriff's Office,
1356.
it's coming up here.
There it is, right in front of us.
Spend a lot of time designing, and it's going to pull over here for a minute. Yeah, it's kind of through the trees, but
It's got a pretty good shot of it.
yeah. The jail's on the back side. Of course, the St. Paul Police Department is at the other end of the parking lot. It's a beautiful building, don't you think?
It really is. Did a
That
nice
Wold
job on it.
Architecture. Wold Architecture did the design on that building. They worked hand in hand with us. But I got to tell you, we're putting up some more fencing. It's no secret that different government buildings are securing themselves, just in anticipation of preserving our ability to operate as a law enforcement entity. The Capitol will probably have something similar. I got this book. You know I'm a history buff, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I got this book. Let's see if I can pull it out. Whenever my son's at hockey or something, I can just sit and read this history. And I'm about a third of the way through it. It's called The Street Where You Live. It's all St. Paul
yeah.
streets.
I've glanced at that book before.
But here's the thing.
134.
I'm
out of the LEC.
I'm about a third of the way through, and I want to get all the way through, and then I've kind of circled streets and stories that are relevant to my brain. Everybody will have a different set.
Right.
But it's amazing how many streets were named after farmers that owned the land and then chose to develop the land.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a name almost with every street from a person. And you can flip through there, just the ones that we go through. What's that, Captain William Acker? Is that
Acker Street over on the lower part of the north end.
Yeah.
Captain William H. Acker, 1833 to 1962. Holy smokes, he was only 29 years old. Was a bookkeeper by profession, served as the Adjutant General of Minnesota from 1860 to 61, and he was killed in the Battle of Shiloh. And the street is near Oakland Cemetery and was named in 1870 by his brother-in-law, Edmund Rice.
And Edmund Rice was how we got the name of Edmund Street.
Yep.
I don't know, I assume maybe Rice too. But I don't know, that's just like the first page of a 200-page book. I've got
to get this.
And the thing is, in that book is a discussion about 1909 when they tried to change the street names. Because, people talk about, the drunk Irishman, etc., which of course isn't really fair. When I say people, I mean like Jesse Ventura. But someone did try to change all the street names in 1909.
33 clear assistant.
And as a matter of fact, the Pioneer Press
1400.
endorsed the concept of changing the streets. There's
Really?
a story in there. Because that book isn't just about streets, it's about different parks and history. And so they tried to change the names, and they were about to. They had a committee, etc. They wanted it more like Minneapolis, where they made some sense. They wanted it to be A Street, B Street, or at a minimum, the street starts with A, B. And a group of women. There was a group of women that rallied against it.
God bless them.
Yeah.
I like the uniqueness of our street setup
that's
myself.
what they said. And they said, there's a quote in there, maybe we'll read it later. Essentially it says, you don't want to give up your history just to make it easier to get around, right?
Well put.
But they said it better than that, So we're at University in Rice, westbound on University. It's 201 in the beautiful city of St. Paul. I actually am a little more awake, I think. I don't know. I suppose 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock's always been a prime time for guys like you and me, right?
Absolutely.
135. Got a call, 380 Maxfield, or 380 Victoria from Maxfield School. There are shots fired near the school. Didn't have any further information.
Maxfield School.
So, is it the same people moving? I'm going to see if we're getting any updates on either of these.
Yeah. Some of you probably are frustrated with our driving slower than on our midnight crew, but it's just that you got to use whatever, kind of drive according to the environment and the conditions, and use whatever tools are on the tool belt. And Right now it's observation and count on your other officers. Where did I put that book?
I put it right here. Okay, that is all connected.
It is.
Yep. So far, no vehicle seen, just heard. Taking off at a high rate of speed. Oh, now we've got
Squad from 780 Aurora.
dark
Where the
colored.
caller says there was a dark colored SUV leading towards Central, towards Lexington on westbound on Central, occupied many times
Actually,
from
a dark colored Suburban.
Maxfield Elementary area.
Well, that's good.
Information to squad 424.
Dark colored Suburban. Occupied many times.
Copy.
Well, there you have it. Right out of the chute. I wonder if they found any casings yet. Maybe go over there and help them look for some casings. By the way, it's not unusual, and we don't tell you all the ones that are connected. It's not unusual for us to have several shootings connected through casings. We had a couple recently that were connected, and it was very helpful to know which gun was probably used in which shooting. Because as we've mentioned, the ejector will leave a unique mark on the casing that can be identified as a unique gun that fired those rounds. That's why finding cases, it's another clue in putting the piece together. And sometimes these casings have fingerprints on them, and that's, or DNA, and that's a valuable clue as well. DNA has become one of the most valuable clues we have. In the old days, it was just Pat and I with our little suitcases dusting for prints.
Right. I remember back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, when police in England first used DNA to solve a murder case. It was an abduction and murder of a young child. I can't remember the title of the book right now, but it occurred in a very relatively small village in England. And every single resident in that village volunteered to give their DNA sample to help catch the killer.
That's a good point. Good point. So, if you remember your street numbering, you know Dale is 620 west. St. Albans then is 60 numbers higher, so that's 680, and then Grotto is 740. Avon is actually 800, and then Victoria 860. But we're gonna go down Grotto here and come in from the east. A lot of stop signs. Hey, read that one there. Grotto Street. We're taking a left on Grotto Street.
All right. Grotto was a 19th century synonym for cave.
66.
This street in the Summit University area, which is what this south of University used to be referred to, sometimes still is,
Flag down 760.
was named in 1857 in Holcomb's edition because it is said if the street were extended south, it would reach the Mississippi riverbank, very near Fountain Cave, an early city landmark.
Fascinating. And you know,
Copy. 9 West 7th.
that
please.
book talks a lot about Fountain Cave,
Regarding
which is
a
apparently an
trail,
amazing
I
thing.
don't see any more.
And Fountain Cave and Carver Cave, which Fountain Cave and Carver Cave. So we're gonna go just backseaters. Keep your eye out for any glistening casings in the street. Should actually be able to see them with all the shots that were fired here.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a lot of shots.
We are going to go straight. Rev's house is down there. We'll see what we got going. Looks like somebody's out of the car though. He said he was talking to someone at 763 Avon. I might have seen something. It is very difficult to know exactly where shots fired are coming from. That's why we have been big advocates for ShotSpotter. ShotSpotter will give us a point that's within 15 meters of the shot. So we'd be able to go to a spot and look 50 feet each way and be able to find them.
Can even tell you how many guns were fired.
And what direction people were traveling while they fired them. There's Rev Spence here. He lives in the neighborhood. Yes, sir. Rev, you're on speaker. You're on speaker there, Rev. Go ahead.
Hey, several neighbors did hear shots fired. It's on the Fuller side of the alley. They heard several shots, so yeah.
So they think the car was on. They think the car was on Fuller or in the alley.
In the alley between Fuller and Central.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. We're gonna go over there. We're just driving by your house right now.
Oh, I just.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll go in the end. Do you think it's between Avon and Victoria or Avon and Grotto?
Avon and Grotto.
All right, that's a good.
That
There was
helps.
a harassment
That's a
call
good tidbit.
for back in
But on the central side.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thanks, Rev.
Yeah.
Talk to you. Bye.
All right.
Bye. Bye. Well, looks like the squads are in the right. Oh yeah, they're looking the alley over. You need any help? We're good. We're just trying to find these casings. Yeah, I just talked to a guy. He said they thought it was this alley, huh?
Yeah, he gave pretty solid description of where it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, it'd be nice to find one.
Hopefully they find something, right?
Yeah, and then I think they went in a. Did you hear that? A Suburban, huh?
Yeah, this way and then over on the central towards the school.
All right, we'll be in the area.
All right.
Good to see you, Swing. Well, there we have it. They got 3 guys walking the alley there, looking for the casings. So, doesn't sound like anybody's hit though,
No,
which is.
that's a good thing.
That's a great thing. The just question is, were they just taunting him?
Right.
Never good to have shots fired near a school. Well, never good anywhere, but terrifying when it's near a school, right?
No kidding.
I think, is this Maxwell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or Maxfield.
Maxfield, that's what I mean, yeah. So we're at Victoria and Central. Supposedly the car went this way. But we are going to do a little tour around the school here. Let's make sure. This is what happens in warmer weather, though. Pat and I have been concerned about this warm weather in terms of the increase in shootings. It always accompanies warm weather because potential targets are outside.
Right. And there are some incidents that raise concern for retaliation.
think they locked down the school, but sometimes if there was an active shooter on foot in the area, we definitely would.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to find a few casings. We can turn this one on 1 now, as long as we're here,
Yeah.
huh?
Sounds good. Put this on 3. Imagine them staying in the area, but is that a Suburban?
That one in front of us?
Yeah, or is
That
that
one's red.
Okay.
It is supposed to be black, right?
Just dark.
Oh,
Looks like they're probably picking kids up.
that's a Tahoe. Put some nice
Oh.
tires on that thing.
Yeah.
Let's turn our lights on and let everybody know. We're the good guys.
Yeah.
Here goes Officer P that can speak to a citizen about an unknown issue.
Did this get moved?
5022.
Did it used to be over there?
No, but you're no,
I'll handle it.
Oh, okay.
but your seat might be able to go back further. I don't know.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Well, see how the paint job came out at the best steakhouse.
4264, can you put me on a PCN at 1411, please?
Looks pretty good, huh? Took good care of that building.
Looks like they got some new signage too.
Yeah, it smells awesome. That's, you know what? That's that's some good smelling food right there. Like a
Nothing like a steak on the
grill.
On the
Oh
grill.
my goodness, that smells really good. Now this Metro PCS, is this the one that got stuck up?
No, it was the one on East 7th.
East 7th, okay. Nothing like a well taken care of red brick building, huh?
That does.
Looks very nice. So if you just joined us, we had a shots fired over here near Aurora and Fuller, actually Fuller and Grotto, ELK. She's in a hurry to get her kids, I think.
Running late.
Well, at Grotto and Fuller in the alley there, black Suburban was seen leaving the area.
Yeah, we gotta keep moving here. My stomach started rumbling, smelling
started
that
smelling
steak.
that, yeah.
Holy smokes!
So we are northbound on Victoria. That was Sherburne Street, Charles Street, and in the book is the history of all those streets. And this one was for Edmund Rice. Right here, Mr. Edmund Rice. Now, but not everybody in there named him after themselves, but some people, their kids named him.
245.
245.
You can clear this assisted and give us a call on 7th Street.
So,
4467 on the back.
1417.
I'm just gonna put this on 1. Let's take that off scan and put this one on. What am I got the 2 and you got the 3? Is that
Yep.
the plan?
Sounds good.
I'll let this one scan on 2. It's a little quieter and central. But I was going to say, one of the things that struck me in reading through that book about all these streets, nearly every person that was here that owned farmland and then eventually did development and that the streets are named after,
Okay.
nearly everyone was an immigrant from a European country.
Really?
Yeah. Germany, Ireland. That's what struck me. Not all of them. Some of them were born in America, but tons of them were born in European countries, brought here with their kids, and they came here, and many of them didn't stay here in St. Paul. They moved on to other places.
But they left their legacy
They
with
left
street
their
names.
legacy. Yeah, which I wouldn't be opposed to renaming some of them for people that have left a legacy since then. But it's, oh, I know, I forgot to tell you, the driving force behind the changing the names of the streets was the mailman, the postmaster. He didn't want to have to. It got confusing for all the employees where they were going to deliver the mail. They didn't have.
Interesting.
They didn't have GPS. He was the initiator of the 1900 attempt to change the name of the streets. But used to deliver the mail like 2 or 3 times a day in the old days. They used to pick up some, go out, pick up some, go out.
Okay, I've gotta share this story.
Okay.
This is from my early days with the San Antonio, Texas Police
Yeah.
Department. Went on there at the tender age of 20 years old. And my goal was to work what was called the Short West Side, just
Okay.
outside of downtown. It was a very busy area. And I got the assignment. I was car 6-2. And I came across a massive street fight going on. And it was at 7th Street. And now you got to wait for it.
Yeah.
I had never seen this particular word written a lot, but
The squad from this
So I-
witnesses said it was a vehicle backfiring.
Oh, vehicle backfiring. Okay.
Appears the shots fired or maybe a vehicle backfiring. Good news. Do you see how much time and energy it took to investigate and verify that?
The rest
Right.
of the squad.
And that took up the time of 4 squad cars. So I call quickly
Yeah.
to 7th and Chihuahua.
Mm.
And
It's Chihuahua. Right?
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
I had
Chihuahua,
never
Chihuahua.
seen Chihuahua in
That's a good
written
story.
form before.
That's a good story.
And of course, all the Hispanic with me for the rest of my days in San Antonio.
Chihuahua. It's like a Hawaiian street. Oh,
In fact, sometimes when I was on, they would intentionally repeat it. They'd say, "I'm going to be out at 7th and Chihuahua."
I know. That's funny. Oh, that's a good story. That's a very good story. At least you know where you were.
Well, for check.
Just didn't know how to pronounce it.
A 10-year-old boy that lives at the address. There's a lot of drugs dealing going on at the address. Child's adopted by grandparents.
Dale and Minnehaha here in the middle of Frogtown, about to go north on Dale
Mother is
Street.
Megan May, white female 20, 5'2", average build, right hair. Tom called safe the last house, the last next to his house at 1093 Grotto.
There's an article in the paper today about a new restaurant out on, I don't know, Hamlin? Did you happen to see that?
Oh, on Snelling.
Is it Snelling and Selby, or where was it?
It's in Mac Groveland.
Yeah. We should check that out sometime.
Yeah. I saw it posted. I've got to look it up.
Yeah.
It was on the Highland Neighbors page.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, Highland Neighbors page is recommending it. We have to check out it comes highly recommended. Apparently, the head cook or person putting it together came from Chicago and ran a first-class restaurant there.
Well, Melissa Hathaway, thank you for sharing this video to the Highland page.
That's really nice of her.
Yeah.
Really.
Very cool.
And we gotta go eat. We gotta go eat there sometime. Find out what the name of that is.
Hang on here.
going eastbound on Front. Eastbound on Front.
It is.
There's a story about the 3 primary operators.
Yeah, they have some other spots, or at least one other spot.
But the headline was about how it's a
345.
comfortable place to eat.
Right.
What's the headline? And that's what caught my eye, because you and I like comfort. What's that say there?
345.
New St. Paul restaurant opens to answer the call for comfort, just as winter gets real.
Yeah.
Prime rib sandwiches, sticky toffee pudding, and a serious burger contender. It is Ship's Clubhouse.
Ships, yeah, right?
Yep, right next to their first place, which is Hot Hands Pie and Biscuits.
What's the location?
It is, just says Snelling on Mac Rowland. Hang on a second here. I gotta find out exactly where.
I'll probably come in here.
It's inside the former Monkey Temple. If somebody wants to give us the cross street, we'd appreciate it. Oh, unfortunately, we have to go to the LEC.
What's happening?
They're putting some barriers up where my car is.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's what the cones are for.
I didn't, and I thought the cones were
For plowing.
for plowing the other
Well,
area.
if the cones could talk. We had a bunch of cones in our parking lot today when I pulled in to pick up Pat. Frankly, we weren't sure what they were for. That's why we ran over one. And but now we're finding out they're to make room for the Jersey barriers for the fencing. So we're going to run down. The good news is you're going to see some of our fencing. But we are running down there to... Well, running is maybe too fast, strong of a word. We're on Rice Street, though. We are on Rice Street, coming by Bourne's, Manitoba, and of course, Winnipeg Market here, which is the home of a location of a shooting of Mezzy Ross. Still a sore spot with some of the affiliates.
And was also brought up a lot in a lot of the taunting going on
New message.
the last few days.
New message. New message.
Ship's Clubhouse. That sounds good. It's over there by St. Clair somewhere, but we'll figure that out. Who got a hold of you?
Inspector Titus.
375.
Oh, very good. Must have run your plate. Thanks. Thankfully, it lists to you.
Yeah, really.
375, if you could start for 1726 Ames Place. Gump's going to be waiting at Ames and White Bear in a U-Haul. Wants to pick up some belongings and just get back. He's quite agitated. 1427.
Someone just texted that a Provo, Utah police officer was just shot in the line of duty.
Oh.
Park Security 571.
Park Security 571, go.
A lot of people work alone out in those wide open. I don't know about Provo, Utah, how many officers they have, etc. But I do know, like the shooting involving that officer up in Wadena, that's pretty remote areas there. You're out there by yourself.
Not a lot of details out on that yet, but it sounds like a very intense situation.
Yeah.
And between Friday and Saturday, an officer in Virginia was fatally shot, and an officer in New Orleans escorting someone out of a sporting event over refusal to wear a mask was shot and killed.
By a friend of his, or by the
guy without the mask.
Oh, for crying out loud! I'm surprised they didn't have metal detection at the door. Maybe they did, and he didn't get that far. The Capitol, the governor is proposing some enhanced security for the Capitol. Number one, a permanent fence. It probably is time for enhanced security out there. And number two, metal detection at the entrances.
Mm-hmm.
We, at the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, we were really the first courthouse, well, we're the first courthouse in the state of Minnesota for sure. And probably one of the first in the country to actually have metal detection at all the entrances. And it would be nice if people could just come and go from all courthouses, but we put that in after 9/11, and the amount of weapons that we were finding in metal detection, guns, knives, was absolutely amazing. And you have domestic situations in there where people are mad at each other. You have gang murder trials where people are mad at each other. So it's really helped us, keep control of the environment. And
there's no doubt it saved lives.
And there was, Hennepin County didn't have it at the time. We were the first, and there were elected officials that said, "Oh, we're going overboard," et cetera, et cetera. But everyone now, today, 20 years later, recognizes the value of it. And
135 and 142.
You can imagine how the state capitals are right now. They need to have some metal detection for who's coming into a capital.
Right.
142 coming.
And it would be nice if the world wasn't like that, but based upon what we're...
Yep, 103. Need to send you to Central, 1345 Western Avenue North on a domestic. Ex broke window into Comp's apartment, says he's inside trashing the place. Comp's about 3 blocks out. Suspect is black male, 23, 5'7", thin build. Threatened to shoot Comp. Comp's not on scene now. Unknown if male has weapons.
Hopefully the Comp stays away.
Current JW
Yes.
jail. His name is Rashad Green, 32 of 70.
So there's a domestic call there in Central District that they're going to use some cars from the Western District. They're just a half mile away. So we're going to pull into the Law Enforcement Center. Law Enforcement Center, you'll see this fencing here on this side. And we're enhancing some of the fencing in other parts.
42 copies.
By the way, you were right on the money. Chip's Clubhouse, 272 South Snelling, about a block south of St. Clair.
Awesome, thank you. So, this is the back side of our building. That building right in front of you there, that is the jail portion. 6 floors, house up to about 500 people.
345 out and 1432.
Book about 25,000, arrest about 25,000 each year, but only hold. Right now, our numbers are low. We're in the low 200s, and we almost got to get a picture of this. You see those Jersey barriers there in front of us, Pat?
Yep.
Those Jersey barriers were not there when I picked you up, right?
Yep. So
and those Jersey barriers are not there.
Why don't I walk over from here?
So you don't get your car. Yeah, we're not going to. Yeah, see, we stopped progress, right? We're not going to
And most of them that read Jim's email.
Well, we weren't sure what those cones were for.
Dollar, they're saying she's in the
All
alley
right.
behind the house.
Thank you. Thanks for getting a hold of us. So you'll see how fast they move those Jersey barriers. And on top of those Jersey barriers will be some enhanced fencing. As you know, the sheriff's office was not involved. Our sheriff's office here was not involved with what happened in
About
Minneapolis.
367 and 350.
But we are teammates with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Hutchinson, and if he needs some assistance with
About 367.
booking prisoners, processing them, or defending
350.
his building, we'll, of course, through our mutual aid.
350 and a squad to assist at 991 East Rose. Marked the DOC. Comes as the neighbors were trying to break into his house. All their juveniles. They're in a gray Kia, partial plate Mike 72. There's a female suspect that looks like a male with long hair wearing a gray sweatshirt. No weapons seen.
Through our mutual assistance agreements, we
350 copy.
we're ready to help as needed.
1434.
And of course, every time you're involved in one of these, you potentially could become a target. So I certainly hope that that doesn't become the case. But preparation, the old Boy Scout motto: be prepared. Be prepared. See if we can find Pot and Pat now. Where'd you send them?
Hey, Sheriff.
I can find them anywhere, but just point.
I think he hit a parking spot.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right, good luck tonight.
Thank you. All right, all right, all right. There you go, Sir Patrick.
Thank you, sir.
So 991 Rose. A call over there. Might want to check out a little more detail on your CAD, but it looks like someone's breaking in there. You know, that little niche there is always pretty busy. One of the reasons that this complex is so important, it's not really a secret, but
Navy 184 Baker Street, lower unit.
in addition to the police departments and the sheriff's office and the jail, etc., this complex also includes all radio communication hubs from the Ramsey County Communication Center. And so there's probably nothing more important. We're just going to show you some of the preparations here. There's probably nothing more important than communications in the midst of a crisis.
Beyond a doubt.
You'll hear a lot of stories about planning, organization, structure, but the reality is most plans deteriorate quickly when there's conflict. But how nimble you are at moving resources and addressing things and getting accurate information, and we have an extremely professional comm center with outstanding individuals, but they need to be able to deliver that service in a safe and reliable way. And in front of us is the St. Paul Police Department there. James Griffin, when I started, I think Pat too, he was the assistant chief.
Yes, he was.
Of the patrol division. And he was a groundbreaker, led the way for many other African-American police officers. Enjoyed his personality. He was a nice man. And at the other end of the complex here, you'll see this is our Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. There's courtrooms in here. Right to my left, there's 2 courtrooms. People that get arrested, they appear their first court appearances. How's it going? Can you believe this weather? Beautiful. Unbelievable. Tomorrow and the next, we're going to have 10 days of 40-degree weather. Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, well, some people like it in there in the winter, you know.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But,
I prefer outside, personally.
yeah, but in the summertime, it's not a good place to be. I look at those bottles of cleaning supplies up in that window up there, Pat. That's our conference room. I gotta get those bottles out of that window. That's not a very good look. Glad we could drive by. What brings you guys here? Somebody in jail? Oh, you too?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. What happened? Domestic? Yeah. Oh, well, that's not a good one. Xerox machine or what? We're using a Xerox machine?
Charlie 2.
No comment. There we go.
Long number's 514.
You guys have a good day. God bless.
Case number for execution of search warrant 1530 East Carpenter.
Not sure what you're showing me.
This is
Charlie 2, your case number
YouTube
is
is showing us up at the best steakhouse.
041620. We'll be out for a while.
Ah. You're so much more adept than I am.
That happens to me many times. See, YouTube you can watch delayed. I don't know if you can do that on Facebook, but you can go
Yeah,
back.
you can't.
You can't. You can watch YouTube like delayed. You can, like, if you're an hour late, you can start it an hour late and then catch up later.
Oh, okay.
It'll still feel like it's live. I think you will see a record number of media outlets in town during the next 6 weeks.
I would imagine.
And here's the, let's just face it. I mean, the media is very important. No one disputes that. But when the media comes to town, every reporter is obligated to generate some type of news story each day, right?
Right.
And so when you got 100 media outlets, they're running around town trying to look for a different angle on what's going on. By the way, this is our detox center, which is within our perimeter now, not necessarily. Okay there, partner?
Yeah. Swallowed my Mountain Dew the wrong way.
Have a Mountain Dew there, buddy. I can change this to 3.
Sure. Where are you on yours?
I'm on 1.
I'll go to 2.
Where am I? You think I can really read those little numbers? That's why I didn't pull up too tight. So we'll brush up on a little more history on some of these streets that, you know, that old history that we know. We know a lot of the contemporary history in the last 60 years, but some of that history from 100 years ago is kind of interesting as well.
It's fascinating.
But you mentioned that grotto went right down to Fountain Cave. That was the angle, which is...
Right.
That Fountain Cave We got to go down there sometime and find it.
Swift 243,
It's
copy.
apparently been closed up.
Suspicious. Go central or west about the back. Randolph and 35.
Yeah, it's down there.
Caller was southbound 35, passing the Randolph. Took 3 people in the overpass, threw a large chunk of ice down from the overpass.
Whoa.
Whoa, not good.
243,
I don't like that. People throwing ice or rocks off overpass. I told
Yeah,
you guys
maybe
about the guy that
14.
lost his eye up there in Maplewood on the bridge off over White Bear Avenue, just south of the community center. Never caught the person that threw that rock, and if you have any inkling of who that was, please let us know. Large rock through the windshield, man lost his eye.
528. 528. Get a report on that PCN, myself, 520 OT. Yeah, have a good night. 1444.
I didn't know this, but you can apparently share these things on YouTube too. I don't know who you'd share it with, because you don't have friends on YouTube. You have, I suppose, email friends or. Well, if you haven't already, if you haven't shared this Facebook with your friends, this is totally unscheduled, and a lot of people don't know that we were popping on. So if you don't mind sharing this with your friends now. Most of them are be getting out of work in the next hour or so.
Oh, I just hit the share button, and you can apparently share it in a message, in Messenger, on an email, or to a Facebook page.
But how does it? Do you have to put something in?
Yeah, you
Okay.
click wherever you wanted it to go.
Okay.
142, can I get the case number? Spot 142, case number is 041640. 041640. Copy, thank you. You're welcome, 1445.
255.
255.
Assisted. We can take the welfare check after review.
But that Carver Cave, I remember people talking about it when I was young. That you could actually go in there.
Copy, 134 Green Avenue.
That you could take a boat in Carver Cave.
1445.
And there's a picture in that book of the Boy Scouts. Of the Boy Scouts in a boat. In Carver Cave.
Really?
Oh.
That's cool.
Very cool.
And now we have people explore sewers through manhole cover.
Partly that was part of my interest. I'm sure that those people with the boots on were cave explorers. And by the way, it's not unusual. All the tunnels that are built in St. Paul, the sandstone tunnels, do eventually lead to the caves under St. Paul. There's an very elaborate cave system. I've actually been in it once when I was on the city council. Not to any dangerous points, but an elaborate cave system underneath the city of St. Paul that the city developers use for utilities. But it does lead into other caves down below. Problem is, sometimes the air gets a lot of methane in it. And you can't really survive in it. People have passed out and fallen in there and have to be rescued by the firefighters. And that's the primary reason that they've sealed up most of those caves along the river. But you know, the old Tom Sawyer novels that you saw, that was down along, in Missouri there, those same caves exist here in St. Paul. And I often thought, if you ever really found a way to open those up for tourism, blow them up, what a great tourist attraction that
fascinating.
would be. People would come from miles around just to go and, explore those caves, or you put them on a little trolley and what's that remind you of, Pat?
Gee. Deja vu.
So, yeah, if you could take the natural resources you have. Obviously, the river is awesome. they've had a plan to develop the riverfront forever, but never really got done. But then enhance it with the caves.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah. You look it up yourself. There's pictures online. Carver Cave and Fountain Cave in St. Paul. Both have been sealed up from the outside, but there are still ways to get in there apparently. You'll notice the call load is a little slower here in the middle of the day, which is good. Usually about 4:30 or so.
Starts picking up.
So damn beautiful out here. I don't know, I'd hate to be one of those. You see that big double bus here's another one here?
I can't imagine trying to drive
Make
one
those
of those
corners in the city streets? Oh my goodness. You gotta have some serious skills.
No kidding.
I almost want to sit here and watch that guy.
345 Sienna 041 635. You're welcome, 1350.
I'm gonna run into the Holiday and get to Fountain Pop and a treat.
I think I need to run in as well.
Okay.
I need a fresh dew, and they just may, this time of day, have some cheese dogs.
Well, you know, I told you I was eating carrots and celery today. Why did you have to bring that up? Johnson High School ended up turning out that remodeling. I kind of like that look on the Johnson High School.
Yeah. You got to make it up to that Costco convenience store one of these days, too.
And there's the Hy-Vee one. Maybe we can stop at the
Yeah, the Hy-Vee one. That's what
That's what everybody says. We got to go to the Hy-Vee. I'm just assuming Hy-Vee isn't quite as convenient as Costco because you don't have to have a membership at Hy-Vee, right?
Right.
Right. Oh, you run in real quick, and then I'm going to run in just so we can.
Okay.
Where'd my book go?
Oh, right here.
I can't keep track of that thing. We're at the Holiday over on Arcade. Pat's going to run in. I might throw a few nuggets of what we're listening for calls. You got your phone with you or your radio?
I'll take my radio.
Take your radio in case a call comes out. You just never know. Yeah. With all the controversy about the Ide Mill Road, I thought that was kind of an interesting history on Ide Mill Road. And apparently there was a grist mill on Ide Mill Road. That's why it's Ide Mill. In 1860, John Ide, a German immigrant, built a home and a grist mill on what is today Jefferson Avenue, about halfway between Lexington and Victoria. It was the first and only grist mill in the Reserve Township, as that was how it was known in that area of the city. The mill was water powered from a mill pond supplied by Cascade Creek, which ran in a ravine now occupied by Ide Mill Road. In 1879, the railroad purchased the rights to use the gradual grade of the stream bed for their tracks, cutting off the water supply from the mill stream and draining the mill pond. By 1886, the mill property had been divided into lots for a new development. Kind of interesting that there was actually, they got a picture in this book of the grist mill. Actually, it's hand drawn, of course, because prior to many availability for cameras. But you hear all this discussion about Ide Mill Road. And for those of you over in the lower Bates, and we go by Bates and Mariah all the time. Actually, Bates was named, and Mariah is actually Maria Street, I guess, because I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Maria Bates, Dayton, the daughter of Master Bates, a native of Providence, Rhode Island. She was born in about 1811. Anyhow, they named Maria and Bates after her. They were named in 1857. So, just a couple little nuggets there. For today, we'll kind of throw a few more every once in a while. As we drive by some of these locations, that's probably the best time to, mention the different locations. But there's some historical heroes in here. The other thing I didn't know is Cherokee Heights Park used to be a vacation place for people to camp their tents. So before it was officially a park, it was like a campsite. Kind of interesting. And some interesting history of the 3M Corporation over on Bush and Earl there. That's how the Bush Street got its name, from Archibald Bush, who eventually started the Bush Foundation. But we'll kind of hold on to some of these nuggets until we're in the area. We're driving by. Got an interesting history on Cretan. Garrison Keillor made fun of all the streets in St. Paul at one time. An ode to the street system of southwest Minneapolis. Actually saying we wish St. Paul streets were more like Minneapolis. At the end, he said, "Be thankful this is not St. Paul. There is no sense to it at all. Where the church, for all its spiritual and temporal powers, permits a jungle of streets named after trees and flowers. Where a Minneapolis person can only look up to the heavens. As driving on 8th Street, he finds himself on 9th Street and then on 7th. Thank you, Garrison, for that recap. Pull up here. Oh, poor lady, I'm trying to get out of her way, but I guess I'm confusing her. All right, I will be back in 1 minute myself, and then we'll be back on live on patrol. Did you get a cheese dog?
Pepper jack and cheddar jack.
Is that yours or mine?
Well, I was letting you decide for yourself.
I'll be right back.
Hey, Pat!
Hey.
We watch you guys all the time. We're like your #1 fans.
Well, thank you.
We do. We watch you religiously all the time.
What are your names?
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Oh, my name's Bob. My daughter, Trisha. Yeah, we do. We watch you religiously. The whole family every night.
Thank you
We
very
do
much.
all the time.
Huh?
It's good to see you. Yeah, my daughter, Trisha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is such an honor to meet you
I'm gonna
guys.
go in for a minute. You want to take a selfie when we come back?
Sure, that'd be great. This really is an honor to be with you guys.
Well, thank you.
Honest to goodness.
Well, we had a couple people who are regular backseaters with us. Found us here.
People should be picking up the garbage.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
809.
809.
Can you put me out on that Larpenter call? 1530.
Received.
There we go. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for saying that. It's a long story, but she used to work. She used to work at the holiday. Thank you. Thank you guys. Take care. Hey.
Thank you. You made ours.
You made ours for real.
Back in the car. I had our radio, so we didn't miss much. Okay.
Somebody said they'll have their hot dog flat Stanley style.
Someone called us and they missed it. Did you get a some type of ring? But well, that was a tough decision between the cheese dog and the pepper dog. Right?
Right.
Tough call.
Charlie 2.
But I went with the pepper.
Charlie 2.
Pepper jack.
I had to go with that.
Squad's clear the aggregate. 800 and other squads will still be out there.
Copy 1503.
Where are they at, do you know?
I'm going to take a look.
I think
809 clear the
gang units out there.
809, copy, 1503.
Fast.
May have been the Rose call.
That's what I was guessing.
Yeah, looks like it.
So we are southbound on Arcade in Maryland. I mentioned this early on, but in the old days there used to be theaters on the east side. And I was born in St. Paul, but my parents moved to Maplewood, just north of the city here off of Larpenteur. We used to come down and watch movies at the two theaters. One was the Capitol. I think that one was on Payne Avenue. There was another one on Arcade. But those old style theaters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was before my time here, I think.
yeah, my dad used to bring me to the movies here. I know I saw the Battle of the Bulge. Was it the Battle of the Bulge or was it George Patton? Or was George Patton in the Battle of the Bulge? But war movies, used to have war movies. We're talking middle 60s war movies about World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that, but the movie I remember the most when I was young with my father bringing me down here was, and you got to help me out, you might remember, you might have seen it, it's a classic, The Flame and the Sword, maybe? Google that real quick if you don't mind. It was Burt Lancaster.
And it was a war movie?
No, this one wasn't over. This is A Flame and the Sword. I could be the something in the sword. Burt Lancaster. That's when he was very popular. But it's funny how you remember days like that from over 50 years ago.
The two movies, The Flame and The Arrow.
Yeah, that's it. Flame and the Arrow.
Burt Lancaster and Virginia Mayo.
What year was that?
1950.
Well, it must have been a replay.
It was a re-release.
Back then, they must have showed them all the time, but no. I had to be, 10 years old, so that had to be 65, so 15 years later.
I remember three movies the best from when I was a kid. I remember Bridge on the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago, and Bullet. I was a little older then, but Bullet was Steve McQueen.
Those are all awesome. Although as a kid, I didn't love Dr. Zhivago.
As a kid, I didn't. I appreciated a whole lot more when I was older for that.
I was going to say something. Bridge on the River Kwai was good. My first drive-in that I remember going to, and I know we went to more, the Maplewood
345, can you change this to a DLC?
Theater was the Maple Leaf Theater. Actually, the Northern Air Hotel is kind of taken up where it was.
345, copy, at 1508.
But there was a Maple Leaf Theater, and I'm sure we used to go to other movies there. But maybe back then they didn't just have kids' movies at the theaters.
Squad 355.
But my parents took us to Mutiny on the Bounty.
Oh, yeah.
1412 DeSoto on a residential audible alarm covers interior motion.
Mutiny on the Bounty.
1508.
There's a guy named Fletcher too, right? Fletcher Christian, wasn't that his name? I think he was the guy that was rebelling against the captain.
Mr. Christian.
Yeah. So, but let me just say, that probably wasn't like a kid's movie, but back then in those days, your parents would do everything they could to get out and see a movie in the station wagon, right?
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully you'd be asleep in the station wagon, but I stayed up to watch the whole movie. Mutiny on the Bounty.
Marlon Brando.
Oh, yeah. That's right. So we are eastbound on Minnehaha at the intersection of 7th and Mendota.
I just seen a suburban champagne color pass down Cleveland here and Juliet. Let's see if I can catch up to it and just get a play and make a stop.
Copy, trying to get to suburban Cleveland and Juliet. 1510.
I still rather go to a movie theater than watch them at home.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard to find movies that I haven't seen. That's the problem. I did find one last night. Watched.
Squad 457 on channel 3. Checking your status.
Called The Space Between Us.
Okay.
So, I don't think it got too broad a viewing, but regarding Mars
Squad 457.
colonialization and a kid that was born on Mars because his mom was pregnant when she took off, and anyhow when he's 18 they agree to bring him back to Earth.
Squad 457.
That sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, and he escapes and then discovers Earth, and the one line I think I might use out of that is he walks around and he says to people,
Squad 457
on channel 3.
"What's your favorite thing about Earth?"
457.
Checking your status.
Why, where to begin?
What's their favorite thing about Earth?
Copy 1511.
He's exploring. What's your favorite thing about Earth? There's an actress in that movie that I had never seen before that's outstanding. I think her name was Britt Robinson. And she did a really, really nice job. Kind of made the movie, actually. Because she's an American that he had been communicating with against the orders of his from Mars. And so he looks her up when he gets here. That's all. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was
The Space Between Us. Okay.
Space Between Us.
Sounds like a storyline that it's an appealing storyline to me.
Yeah. We are going to drive by the memorial for Raymond Hobbs here. Taking a little different route down here than normal. You can see why some officers like working days.
Was that the party in my accident? Getting sent back to essay?
But Pat and I really would rather be busy, right?
Yeah, we spent most of our time on nights.
345 showing you en route to 2123 Sherwood for recovered property. 1513.
Like there's some new balloons out here at Ray's Memorial. I haven't heard. I'm going to call his mom. I know his mom pretty well and find out when the funeral's going to be, but I don't know if she was going to post on Facebook. How's it going? Good. How's the memorial holding up? Looks pretty. Got some new balloons out there too. New balloons.
New message.
Should probably get a big piece of plywood out there that people can post stuff on.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm waiting for the canvas to come in. Come in Wednesday.
Canvas?
Yeah,
Oh, good. Awesome. Awesome. Now, has Jennifer decided when the funeral's going to be?
Not yet. Still wait to see.
Sad thing. Sad thing. All right, you guys have a good day. Thank you.
New message. New message.
Someone says there's a Cheers over in Minneapolis.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if this is a chain or... This new Cheers that took place at the Mounds Park Sports Park.
Mm-hmm.
Clear this is listed with comments. Give us the
Yeah, the Jackson and Sycamore Street passerby callers said 2 males were hearing to break into a vehicle, black Nissan area. Both were juvenile
Sycamore
black
and
males.
Jackson. Someone trying to break into a vehicle over there on Southern Rice Street. Earl Street. You know we're on Earl Street so much, Pat. We owe it to whoever it is for you to read the definition of Earl Street.
Absolutely.
Earl Street. As we go on these streets, like the big ones. Question, is it his first name? Is it his last name? We're northbound on Earl Street from...
Looking for somebody to break for an assault 1824 Old Hudson Road, apartment 206, resident punching people, and medics are en route for one of the residents that was punched.
That's that old hotel
Yes,
that we
this
were
is
at.
the suspect. She's Eva, 77-year-old black female wearing scrubs.
Well, we'll head that way in case they need any help. I'm sure they can handle that without us. What's it say about Earl Street?
Copy 347, squad to assist.
It was originally East Street
Oh.
in 1857, got changed in 1872. It is a personal name of an uncertain identity.
Oh.
Copy 345.
Okay.
But at the foot of it, overlooking the railroad tracks along Warner Road, the Burlington Hotel, an ungainly and solitary building,
188, got the alarm.
survived for many years. It was the last of the old-time railroad hotels.
Well, that's a street they could call Patrick then. If that's not after anybody in particular.
Yeah.
That could be called Patrick. Sir Earl instead of Sir Patrick. Well, that's interesting. No, nobody for sure. Yeah, there's a picture of that old hotel down below there, and actually I kind of ran down where that one of the caves was. Carver Cave is on this side of the river, but there was a fish hatchery there for many years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That Fish Hatchery Road, under the Fish Hatchery Road explanation, they talk about how they tried to raise salmon here. But so they raised a lot of salmon and they put them in the lakes and rivers, but they all died because of the weather. So they were able to raise trout. Apparently they were able to have some trout in our lakes.
Yep, and some of our creeks too.
Yeah. So eventually they closed up the fish hatchery, but a good effort. We are eastbound on 3rd, I think, right?
Yep.
Coming past Harding High School. Almost Susan Gertner, County Attorney Susan Gertner. City Council member Dino Guerin. The Maurer family. Don't forget the original Maurer family. The original. Joe Maurer, of course, went to Cretin. But the older relatives were here at Hard. Mr. Maurer coached football there for years. I see the Twins started playing ball down in Fort Myers.
Slide 154.
Oh, they did. Spring training's going, huh?
Yeah.
Can you give me my case number over here? Case number is 041-647-041.
I didn't catch all the details. I caught a little blurb that there's some talk about making Major League Baseball games 5 to 7 innings long this season.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose is?
The purpose was unclear.
Keeping people from hanging out together so long? Maybe they could have double hitters then. Interesting. I'm guessing the historical people are not going to stand for that. So we're southbound on White Bear Avenue. I don't know if I ever told you this, but back when when 94 was Hudson Road, the real Hudson Road, my parents had a terrible accident here. My dad was hospitalized, his head was broken open. It used to be the road that I'm not even sure where it was, if Hudson Road and Old Hudson Road were the same, but my parents used to tell me he almost died when this is when they were like 19, 20 years old. Actually, before my dad went to the fight in the before he went to fight in the Korean War. So this, I think this is where the call is, right?
Correction, medics are en route for the client who was having behavioral issues, not for anyone that was punched.
1824, I believe so.
1521.
See if is there any emergency requiring our assistance, or else we'll let St. Paul Squad handle the call.
They have the medics coming for the woman who's the issue, but only because of behavioral issues.
Okay. So we don't see any. Turn it down. That wasn't the lady in the wheelchair there. What's it say in the notes there? Anything else going on?
A staff was injured in a minor way and it doesn't want paramedics. Really nothing additional beyond that.
Well, we'll just run in, make sure everybody's okay. Stick our heads in, make sure everybody's okay.
We'll be right back with you folks.
We'll be back soon, since the St. Paul car isn't quite here. You got a radio? Yep. I suppose we gotta wear masks. That would be good, huh?
Yep.
345 mile.
There's the squad behind us.
345 on scene 1523.
Okay.
As long as they're right behind us, we'll let them handle the call. But as the handoff gets more complicated, they're right behind us. We'll lurk here in case they need us. If they call for help, we'll be there. If you need us, we'll be here. Thanks. Is there a siren out there?
Yep, that's probably the medics.
Everybody comes in different ways. There is no really right or wrong either. That's
No.
the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing about great thing about police work. Everybody's got a different style, and we need that type of variety, both in personalities and.
It somehow all comes together and
Yeah.
works.
Different people have different strengths. But we know at this location there are mental health issues.
Yes.
So nobody's planning on.
That might be the same name of the woman we dealt with at the convenience store across the way. Remember that a few months back? Who was at the doorway of the gas station across from the Speedway?
Yeah. You're good if you remember the name. The medics. And just for privacy considerations, we're probably going to depart now. We don't really, if anybody's having a crisis, we don't try to expose them to any ridicule. So
No.
we've got 2 squads here, a medic. The last information sounded like it wasn't an emergency, and they're just that she needed some mental health medical issues.
That is a skinny roll of paper towels.
Where?
They're carrying there.
Oh, yeah.
Seems a lot of paper towel and toilet paper makers are making their stuff skinnier now and charging the same price.
I'd rather have it skinnier, though. I mean, it is a little bit pricey, but sometimes it doesn't, like the toilet paper doesn't fit in there if it's too big.
I've got an extender. I can put the mega rolls in mine.
Well, but how does it fit into the mount?
I've got there's a little extender that comes out.
Squad 693.
Uh-huh.
Very clever, very clever.
Okay, please do see myself in 633.
Very
Thanks, have a
clever.
good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Somebody made $1 million on that, I bet, huh?
Right.
The extender.
Oh, yeah. If only we'd thought of it.
How about the guy that made the microwavable bacon holder?
Yeah, it was a kid, wasn't it?
Yeah, something. I don't know. They made. See, if you can invent something like that, people, you can, just something new that hasn't been changed in 20 years. Microwavable bacon holder. Jesus. Brilliant. St. Pascal's. A lot of Eastsiders went there.
350. Squad 350. I'll be out of team riding. 15.
Pace during the.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like people are about torn 50-50 between they want us to turn the radio down so they can hear us talk, or they want us to turn it up so they can hear the calls. So we try and do a little bit of a balancing act.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to stop talking when the radio's on. Do our best. Next 10 days are going to be busy, though, just with the warm weather.
Oh, most definitely.
School's coming back. Most of these schools are going back, though, for the kids to... I mean, I'm not saying all the kids that we're concerned about will go to school, but a lot of them will.
That should ease things up a little bit anyways.
Yeah. We're northbound on White Bear, just past the little Italian oven and the cherry pit. A lot more to look at during the daytime.
Yeah, there is.
A lot more to look at.
And for those of you wondering, the radio is surprisingly quiet right now.
That's, I got mine on 1. What are you on over there?
I am on 2.
Okay, I'll put the scan on this one. Breaker 19.
Squad 135, squad 141.
135, 141.
That'll be in the Western District.
Are you at 2 or 1?
Oh, that's right.
Squad 141.
I don't know. I've got to get something.
They're doing it on Channel 2, though.
Okay.
Squad 355.
Go there. Copy with 135, 754 Concordia Ave, Unit 106 for a DOC. Spoken with the property manager, hearing a male and a female yelling inside the apartment.
And suspect is possibly a mutual friend who's inside the building. He's a black male, 17 years old, thin build, 5'10", wearing black jeans.
Bravo 739.
There we go. 2 calls going on at one time. One in the west sector.
1531.
One in the east sector.
Copy, have a good night. 1531.
Where are we headed to in the east there, Pat?
Did you catch who's the street name?
No, what is a stolen, I think, right? Should be up at the top somewhere. Tap that elapsed time and then you can, or that might, yeah, should be good.
Oh. Was it a theft from auto maybe in...
Squad 135, squad 161. 161.
Maybe that theft.
The original caller called
just
back
come out?
that everything
Yeah.
was fine. You can both be clear.
Yeah, that might be.
61 copy.
Oh.
At 1532. Squad 181, I copy the accident. Treatment simple. 1532.
It's apparently a theft from auto.
Squad 344, checking your status.
94.
Copy.
Well, a lot of people on their way home from work now.
theft from auto where the person who they suspect lives in the building.
Oh, they know who it is, or have an idea. Yeah. Wasn't no auto theft, just a show. A lot of cars out here, Pat.
Yeah, there are.
Squad 536.
536.
250 5th Street East for a suspicious. Caller says that 5 to 10 minute delay, an attempted theft. He's a repair person while he was getting something out of the back of a work van. The vehicle stops, the male opened his driver door. The caller was able to scare him off. They left in a red minivan with
347, checking your status.
00 November Mike Bravo. Coming back to a Minneapolis stolen vehicle.
Oh, there's one for us.
Copy. Our code, our
Let's go find that
medical
one.
team?
That's 5th Street theft. They're in a red minivan that's stolen.
1534.
Now we're talking. We got a target. Stolen minivan down on 5th Street that's involved with. I don't know why.
It is a Chrysler Town and Country.
Okay.
Stolen out of Minneapolis. Plate is 300 NMB.
Okay. And it was downtown, huh?
Yep, at 250 East 5th Street.
So there you go.
He drove off eastbound on 5th Street.
More proof that people aren't just trying to joyride, they're actually using those stolens for more crime.
Pretty hard to find out who a theft suspect is if they committed the crime in a stolen vehicle.
He might sound like he was trying to steal from a commercial vehicle too, huh?
Yeah, he was
So
stealing out of the back of a work van.
going for some quality stuff. Put it on our new chart. Old chart.
Red Chrysler Town and Country.
300 NMB. Right? Is that
Yep,
what it is?
correct.
We got a good shot at. Actually, just so you know, that's that Amber Alert that you all got yesterday. By the way, last night, and we didn't go on air just because things were evolving relatively fast with that one, and turns out it was someone that knew someone that was related to the person who had the car, and the party had actually dropped the child off shortly after stealing the car.
Okay.
So,
But it's right over here where
right, yeah, but one of our squads ended up spotting the car right here on Prosperity. This is that Amber Alert that went out yesterday from downtown Minneapolis. The car was spotted right here on the east side of St. Paul, 1393, and he had already dropped the child off. But if you ever doubt, the connection, and I haven't examined any of the details, but you do know that 1393 is very, very close to this address here, right?
Yep.
Which is 1390, where we were at. So, don't ever assume that just because you're in your little section of the world that you won't come up with a stolen car. If there's an Amber Alert. It takes a team. Takes a team to come up with that.
Copy 1018 East Rose, 911 open line within 8 meters. Young child heard in the background. 1537.
Red Town and Country van, 300 NMB. If you're listening to us on your phone when you're driving home from downtown, keep an eye out. Stolen van with stolen stuff. I'm glad this weather is breaking. If for no other reason, for the homeless. You know.
Oh, definitely.
It's just a little easier to live in 45, 50 degree weather outside. And most of them, to the city and county's credit, most of them have legitimate shelter indoors now. What do we got there? It's a Jeep. But you know, Chrysler and Jeep are merged, right? Because my son says that the inside of this Durango looks a lot like the inside of Jeeps.
Mm-hmm. Basically going to look the exact same as a Dodge
Caravan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sir, 255. And 135.
255, we're en route to that assistant, 640 Jackson. We read it. Happy, thank you. 1540.
161, you can cancel. 134, 161, 774 Concordia, number 302 on a domestic. Male and female arguing, children crying. 61 copy.
124 copy.
1540.
The last day of winter here, officially, even though spring doesn't start till March 21st. The Ramsey County Sheriff's Office is declaring today the last day of winter.
Oh, God bless you.
We don't need no groundhog. What's that ground? Does that groundhog ever stay out? I mean, Jesus Christ! It seems to me he goes, runs, and hide back in. He declares 6 more weeks of winter every February. What is it, 2nd?
Yeah.
Well, just once that. If he wants to prove himself and be totally transparent and accountable, one time he should be staying out.
That gets my vote.
So as we drive, Pat and I are checking all these cars on the streets, side streets. We're looking for that red Town and Country van that was stolen out of Minneapolis. And obviously, if you had enough officers that had enough time like we do, it'd be tough to get away.
Yeah,
ever.
Definitely.
Or if you had license plate readers on the major intersections. What kind of music you playing there? Probably get a copyright infringement for being parked alongside a car playing music.
New message.
Hi,
This will be a report on EMP.
Well, for those of you that might be new viewers, which I don't know if there are, but if you haven't, our old viewers, if you haven't already shared it with your friends, that'd be great. But we typically are on Friday nights at 9/11. Oh, sure. Did you run that one?
I'm about to.
MCF 719. MCF looked a little bit like that one suspect we're looking for.
New message.
We got a red. Don't know why yet. From from Georgia. Probably not. No. Nice.
Squad 279.
279.
Central Squad to assist. I'm on the assist medics at 1064 Dale Street North, Unit 5. Medics are going for a 48-year-old male, mental health issue. He's starting to act out, yelling at nursing staff.
So there's a great example. It's a mental health issue. No one disputes that. It's at a facility because he said he's acting out toward medical staff. But it would be great to have a mental health worker go with an officer, but you could never send a mental health worker alone to a call like that.
Absolutely.
262 Officer.
I'll go 279.
Gabby, 243 and 6 there.
I was going to say is that if you're new,
359 EOT.
we have 6 different dispatch frequencies in Ramsey County. 3 of them are in the city of St. Paul, and 3 of them in the suburbs. We try to monitor as best we can, but we are right now patrolling the eastern precinct of St. Paul, and so we're on what's called Channel 3, but we're monitoring as best we can the other 5 channels. The theft downtown was actually in Precinct 2, but we'll slide down there. We get past Payne Avenue, we're actually sliding into Central District. We are southbound on Arcade at 7th Street. Oh, I wonder if our friends are watching this afternoon.
I wonder.
Let's just see. Let's see if the
Shout out, girls.
see if the Free Moody group or the what the heck? Oh, the anti-Aaron Rodgers group is up today.
Well,
Windows are
windows
closed.
are closed today. Oh, they got the Moody name up there.
Look at that. There's the Bluebell ice cream truck. One thing I remember when I was little growing up in Maplewood, before we had sewers, the streets didn't have sewer. If they had them, and there was like long ways. We usually drained into drainage ponds back those days. But when the snow was melting like this, the water had to go a long way before it got into the ground. I don't know. I don't think we had sewers back then. I'm talking the 50s. Because we had a well for our water. I'm working on your issue. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna get you a court date. What we're gonna do? Get you a new virtual Zoom court date and get that squashed. So that's our plan. If you get stopped, just have them call me. Thanks. Bye. So anyhow, back then we didn't have sewers because we had Maplewood as a new development. But the part I'm remembering is we had streams all over when the snow's melting. So we went out. We had these boats we put in the streams.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It would go a long way with a little wooden boat.
Of course.
Or a paper boat, right? And you learned how to make those little paper boats, but...
Yeah, I loved building dams and moats.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But no, it's one disadvantage of having sewers every half a block. The water just runs down the street. you know, maybe this is a good day to do a railroad run down there. What do you think? Because I know you'll probably say, yeah, as soon as we're down there, we'll have a
Of course we will.
serious call.
So I'm thinking because we even mentioned it, something's now going to happen that we're going to need to be out here for.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go downtown St. Paul for a few minutes. We haven't been down there today. This is the capital city of Minnesota. And as you can tell, if you're a new viewer, we haven't had much crime, and we like that. But like most criminal activity, it usually occurs under the cover of darkness. Who's this guy? What's he got a sign? What's that say? I'm just gonna tell you, that guy, I've known that guy that guy has been hitchhiking and on the street for 20 plus years.
I wonder if the tattoo on his belly he was showing off was "Give me a ride."
I don't know. We could have stopped. I'm not sure I wanted to know.
Not sure. Yeah.
There you go.
That's okay.
I'm not sure I wanted to know.
That's just one of those mysteries. I'm okay remaining a
He used to
mystery.
use his thumb to go places, but now he's got a tattoo. We should all feel very lucky for our circumstances. If you're watching this and listening on a phone, and you have the resources to have a phone or a computer, just thank God that you have the resources you have in the midst of this pandemic, because there's a lot of people suffering.
A lot of people going without.
Yep.
Where's that van gonna go?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know whether he knows he was made. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't go far, if they don't know they're made.
Yeah, looking for something else to steal
And
downtown.
there's something commercial, and there's more entire density of commercial targets down here. Well, Pat, you got the phone with you? You want to see if you can take any? A lot of these daytimers might not even know the number. Might be getting some texts. It's tough for us to keep up on the stream of comments, next to impossible. I mean, Pat's really good at going back and looking at them, and I do, and my wife does. My wife actually reads them probably more than me, and lets me know if there's some important ones. She tries to answer. We got about 10 different venues for text and email responses, so our apologies, deeply apologies for not being able to get back to people.
And I'm currently about 1,500 behind in responding to texts, but the number is 651-775-8928. 775-8928. We do not answer the phone. We only respond to texts.
You know, if you can get to them. I mean, you try to get to them, but 1,500 is a little bit.
It's a bit much. But somebody asked what a Bravo car is just now, as I was giving that out. A Bravo car is that refers to their being off duty. They say Bravo, which indicates badge number, and then their badge number, and that signifies that they are an off-duty car. Usually working an off-duty job. Sometimes they're simply off-duty and they've come across a crime or incident going on.
And a Tango, if it's a Tango car, that's a training car. That's someone's being trained by a field training officer. That's usually at the end, like 320 Tango.
Right. And we don't have a set ending time today. This was primarily to make sure that our YouTube feed was up and running properly. So we don't have a set ending time for today.
355.
I'm thinking, as long as the sun's out, I'm going to be out today. You know, I'm going to get a little suntan.
We'll give him our
There you go.
cop here a
D.
courtesy
Vitamin
ride
D
to
is good for you.
1434 Palace Avenue.
Copy to 1434 Palace.
New Roads, Louisiana. Well, thanks for being with us. I guess Jason has a CB handle, Hollywood. Well, hello, Hollywood.
I just want to give a shout out again to, you know, these carjackings we've been working on. We know we got 3 people in jail that were part of the core group of maybe 6 to 10. And I have to say, just because I know everything she's worked on, that Sergeant Amber Larson at the St. Paul Police Department has done an unbelievable job. By the way, there is our state capitol. For those of you that I do stop here. I love the building, and we stop at nighttime all the time, but you can see how gorgeous it is. Someone's getting his picture taken in front of it on a ladder or a step. Who knows? It could be a 2-person protest going on up there.
You never know.
You never know. And I don't know what the end result of that. Maybe somebody can advise us how that hearing went today. I'm sure the appellate court's not going to make a decision today about adding a 3rd-degree charge. Technically, they're slated for 3 weeks of jury selection. So technically, the appellate court could add that any time before the 29th of March.
Okay.
Usually they take 6 to 8 weeks for their decision making. And you can see the Supreme Court building right over there. That's the Judicial Center. The Supreme Court actually has a room in the Capitol on the eastern wing up there. But the administrative staff, etc., are all inside this beautiful Judicial Center.
Acadia Railroad Run just refers to we've done some at least one trip along the railroad tracks, and at some point we hope to do a lengthier one, just showing the route of the trains through the city.
Yeah, Acadia, it's a whole different world down there where the trains run and the different paths, and a fair number of homeless people down there as well. But it's you start to understand how St. Paul was developed, because clearly it was a railroad town. Although I was reading up on the Ford Bridge. For those of you Highland Parkers,
New message.
the history of the Ford plant in 1920 is a pretty amazing story. This I didn't know, though. In the 1920s, they actually loaded Ford cars up onto barges on the river.
Really?
It wasn't just a railroad delivery. They shipped cars out on barges on the Mississippi River.
No kidding.
In the 1920s. And Ford Parkways had several different names. I forget the first one. I'm not sure, I could look it up. But the second one I remember was Edsel. How would you like to have it called Edsel Parkway?
Medic and start to assist medics 1533 Woodbridge Street. Or 2 slumpers and a white Nissan Altima.
A slumper in a car this time of day is always a cause for concern as to it possibly being a drug overdose.
Yep. And like I said, we carry Narcan, so
Copy, 1558.
get there fast enough, we can generally, if get there within 2 or 3 minutes, we can generally save a person from an overdose death. Do you have any relatives that use opioids, heroin, prescription drugs, Percocet, whatever? Get yourself some Narcan in case they ever overdose. Usually the cause of the overdose is fentanyl in illicit street drugs. Just have to stress with your children, don't trust any pill, because it can cause death quite quickly.
Very true. From a hospital worker in Vancouver, yeah, I personally do definitely believe in the legend of the full moon causing an increase in activity.
Well, what does the hospital worker say? Because the hospital staff,
they're a firm believer.
They're firm believers. I know that. No, they're firm believers.
Thank you, Andy in London. So, someone is asking if they did a police academy in Florida, if they can come be a police officer in another state. In Minnesota, if you were a licensed certified police officer in another state for, I believe it's a minimum of 2 years, there's the possibility of taking a reciprocity exam to get you licensed in Minnesota. As far as other states, I can't answer that question. Oh, we're being told Edsel was Henry Ford's son.
Bravo 817 EOT.
Interesting.
Have a good night, Bravo 817.
Somebody was asking about adding charges. That was the prosecution's request to add the charges, not the judges. The judges are deciding whether to let them add the charges, but the defense has objected to the late adding of these charges because it changes the manner in which they will defend, and so it's really an issue of timing. We're going to avoid discussing any of the merits or the evidence as it comes out. We will probably take you to areas where there's peaceful protests, because on our patrol, you never know where we're going to path. But we're just going to avoid discussion. If you watched Almanac this weekend, and you can certainly go back and watch it, the County Attorney John Choi, our Ramsey County Attorney John Choi, talked about some of the evidentiary issues, and there are a lot of other experts that will be willing to weigh in. But it's not really our job. And to be candid, the only 12 people that it really is the job of weighing the evidence is the 12 that are sitting there as a jury.
That's right.
So, I always say you have to respect the juror's opinion. They heard every bit of evidence, every bit of argument. And so, regardless of which way they vote, they're in the best position
367, copy, 1602.
to come up with what they think is the proper decision. So, but there'll be a lot of pundits, and correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, you can tell Pat, but the last I heard, they were planning to publicize this every day. So that will, and I don't think the jury selection will be publicized. I don't know if the jury selection will be without the pictures of the jurors. I imagine they won't do it at all.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think they'll show the jurors at all.
But I mean, they hopefully won't even have the audio. Just to ensure the jurors' confidentiality. So we are northbound on Rice Street.
About 370 showing you en route to a burglary report, 1346 Arcade Street, 1603.
46 Arcade. We come over to Rice Street, and there's the arcade to call.
Yep. If we were down on the tracks, it would be all over the place. Jim, thank you for being with us, and thanks to your wife for her service as a Winnipeg police dispatcher.
How much snow you got up there in Winnipeg there, Jim?
Yeah, how much?
I went up there for a hockey game once.
And yes, most definitely a concern with a slumper would also be a possible diabetic attack.
I don't know if I told that story. I had that happen once. Rice.
Where the initial thought was it was...
Well, yeah, well, sometimes the initial thought is the person's under the influence, you know, because they're having an attack and they're trying to drive, but they can't.
Right.
So, I followed a young man that I was assumed was drunk. I was on Como eastbound, coming up on Rice Street, and I mean, you learn from these lessons. This is when I was younger, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all over the road. I was radioing in that I was following what I believed to be a drunk driver, and he stopped at the light there, eastbound on Como. That's Pennsylvania there. Eastbound on Pennsylvania at Rice Street. And then he didn't go when the light turned green. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I just figured, well, he's drunk, so I did my best to try to sneak up, and, you know, sir, you know, figuring a certainty that he was intoxicated because he was all over.
Right. The normal first thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your first, second, and third, you know, drugs, alcohol, etc.
4372.
So I attempted to arrest him, and he was fighting with me because
Can you check your message?
sometimes people do
Or
that
give us a call.
because they don't know where they're at, what's going on. So I was able to get him out of the car, and a short wrestling match ensued. Wasn't a very long wrestling match. I was able to control him.
Right.
But unfortunately, in my arresting him and controlling him, as I'm laying on the ground on top of him, calming him down,
262 will be ordered for
I'm watching the car
Cabin 1606.
go across Rice Street by itself.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm literally laying on this young man on Pennsylvania Avenue, figuring he's a drunk driver. I arrested him, but unfortunately the car was in gear, and the car is going across Rice Street down Pennsylvania. You know there's a downhill grade there.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing a color, heard a male and a female,
I'm
not a
watching
hell
this
yelling.
car thinking,
Aggressively, there was a child
please don't hit
crying as
anybody.
well. Possibly in at 305, the color wasn't sure. The
And
color's no longer seen.
as it turned out, thankfully, it went about 3 blocks and ran up on the side of the boulevard down there and hit no one. And the young man said, I just need a candy bar. It was all about a diabetic reaction. I sent somebody in. I asked, there was a lady sitting next to me watching. I said, can you run into the Holiday and get him a candy bar? Brought him a candy bar.
Everyone, you can cancel 36. I'll go.
3 minutes later, he was fine.
Unreal.
So it's just the moral of the story is
4467.
you never know.
67.
Cancel 36. Don't take a
You
spot.
never know. But thankfully, nothing happened. Nothing.
4436, clear.
But just I remember laying there. Oh no, because the cars could have come. I was just, where's that car going to?
52, you want clear 50, good to me adjust. 2040 Fairview, Old Navy.
Advised, 177 will be on here.
Friday, maybe, huh?
9171.
What?
We have a call for an animal complaint. There's an aggressive German Shepherd in the parking lot chasing people on 1978 Highway 96 with his Dell trophy.
An aggressive German
For
Shepherd.
domestic 1178 Barclay.
1178 Barclay. That's probably our friends from the other night. They were at,
Oh,
they
yeah.
claimed to be at 1180, but that's just too darn close.
That
We
was
better run over there.
that was a bizarre incident.
That last call that we handled the other night,
446.
or one of the last ones, they were coming from 1180
Could you
Barclay.
please take my off-duty, throw it back in
We gotta run over there and just see if it's our friends. What's the odds?
Checking for a slide to break for a domestic 1178 Barclay.
Copy, it's 1609.
Well, we better just go check.
375 is listed route.
Copy 375. Thank you. Apartment 8. Comps brother is destroying the house. Not physically fighting. His name is Derek Walker, 31-year-old.
That wasn't the driver of the
I don't
SUV,
think so.
was it?
No.
1610.
That's the most serious call we got right now in the city of St. Paul, though.
Mm-hmm.
But at 410, it's extremely difficult to navigate. Go back and take a look at some of those other.
Can't really get anywhere very fast.
Nope.
There's 1610.
And it's obviously that we drive with a lot more caution during the high volume air times.
385, you can sunset domestic.
I never did look up how St. Paul may have resolved that call that night.
You know, it's kind of funny. We don't actually, it's part of our personalities. We don't feel a need to know how things are resolved because the nature of this business is on to the next
Exactly.
problem. But I know some of the viewers were asking for it, but we don't know if they ever searched the car. We told you the gentleman did not consent to a search of his car. We didn't have probable cause to get in there. So, but they could have developed more probable cause.
2183.
Supply the clear says in some of the dangerous condition, cleared out assist.
And for those of you that don't know who we are, like I said, my name is Bob Fletcher. I started with the St. Paul Police Department in 1977 as a young patrolman, work in the Midway District, Frogtown, etc. And eventually worked my way through the ranks, did some number of years of investigations, worked homicides, burglaries, sex crimes, and then headed up the juvenile unit, St. Paul Police Juvenile Unit, which handled 4,000 arrests a year. And while there, I ran for Ramsey County Sheriff and was fortunate enough to get elected sheriff. Pat got a long, long history. 'Cause I know a lot of people come on and say, "Who are these? Who are these? Who are these guys?" So, Pat, tell them a little about yourself.
I spent just over 30 years with St. Paul PD, retired in 2010. Spent the all but 5 years of that 30 years I spent on patrol. I spent 5 years in narcotics,
279, can you repeat?
20 years before that in patrol, and 5 years after narcotics in
And you can
patrol.
cancel medics.
Yeah, thank you, 1613.
And the sheriff lured me back out of retirement to come on with the sheriff's office, and I'm working right now as a civilian analyst.
There's nothing more valuable than real street experience. People that know people know how to solve crimes.
You can clear both squads assistantly.
Pat's got a ton of it, so
I'm blessed to have made a lot of wonderful friendships and built relationships within the community while I was on the job. We had a lot more time, a lot more downtime during a shift to develop those relationships.
Yeah.
In those years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now officers are too often going from call to call to call.
And even if you're not hearing a lot of hot calls, so to speak, that require emergency response, there's a lot of calls that require reports being made, and that can tie up an officer's time.
And that's why you've heard several times today the dispatcher asking for somebody who can break to make one of these calls. Because everybody's tied up on report calls or calls they have to advise on, situations they have to resolve.
Medical issues, mental health issues. There's an Arizona plate right in front of us.
Oh yeah. Right now there are quite a few calls in the pending queue.
So all we ask for the new viewers that maybe not listened to us before, just be respectful of others.
5183 medical.
Be kind.
5188.
There's no reason for derogatoriness. If we get text to the text phone about people that are just abusive, we will block people. Or just, if you don't like what you're hearing or seeing, just turn it off. Go to a different venue. Our goal here is to just show people what police officers do day in, day out, the calls that they're responding to and going to, realize that they're actually humans. And, Pat and I believe that we're not that unusual in terms of, well, maybe, I don't know, there's some people that believe we're unusual. but in general, and we're just trying to be transparent and show you what's on the street. And obviously those of you, this is our 103rd broadcast. You can get all of the original broadcasts on our Facebook page on Live on Patrol, and you can get all back to number 38 on YouTube. And there's going to be some boring stuff, some exciting stuff, but hopefully it's all educational. It's all educational. It is, what you see is what you get. I mean, there's no...
We've said that so many times. The way you hear us talking, the way you hear us acting, the way you see us doing things is exactly the same way we do it when we're not live.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is I've been able to control some occasional profanity better since the beginning. Because, once in a while when you hear shots fired or when something happens, you're in the middle of a chase. So I've done a little better job of not using any profanity. So don't you think I'm doing better?
Amazing.
And I used to tell my kids there's no reason you can't control your mouth, so you got to take that extra millisecond to control it. So, but no doubt that there's a no, that's not it. That's a good spot though. We're still looking for that red Town and Country van, 300 NMB or NLB? NMB.
4467 clear GOA.
Just be nice to each other in the comments. That's all we ask. We do at the sheriff's office, we're not opposed to chasing suspects. We do weigh all the factors, but clearly if they've been involved in some form of assault or other crimes, that raises the likelihood that we'll pursue. We've called several off, though. Pat and I have been in several chases we called off, or we lost them because we didn't want to drive unsafe. But we've also been a part of several successful ones.
Medics are requesting a status report. Still staged.
Excuse me.
I think that camera's, the pretty good today, huh?
I think so too.
The sun is so beautiful out there. Pat's allergic to something in my car. We're not sure what it is. There might be a cheese dog underneath his seat that's been there for 6 months. I'm immune to it, but Pat might not be.
It might have living things, living organisms growing on it.
I don't think it's mace, but I have heard of stories of angry boyfriends putting mace into the vents of a car, you know, like where the intake is.
Yep.
So.
Are you saying you have an angry boyfriend?
No, but I mean, just
I know,
you know, people that are in the middle of a domestic problem.
Right.
You know,
that's not unheard of.
624 Summit number 9, or UC. Comp is landlord, female tenant, in the process of being evicted, yelling, being aggressive at comp. Name is Britta Light.
Yeah, we are in the grumpy old men. We are in the grumpy old men district over there off of Hyacinth where the movie was filmed. So I guess I could have thrown an old fish under your seat too.
That's always a possibility.
Yeah, just an old fish.
Okay.
I think we would both smell that though.
617.
I think so.
041 78.
That's the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension we just passed. It's a beautiful building. That's where I meant to go that way. The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension does several statewide investigations, a lot of times narcotics. They also have a unit that investigates all officer-involved shootings now. And of course, with the number of officer-involved shootings increasing, they've been very, very busy. So we're going to turn around here. That's not our suspect, is it? It sure looks like him, doesn't it? It sure does.
No.
How's it going?
44 today, clearboard.
That guy kind of looks like Snoop Dogg, huh?
Kind of does.
Yeah. Anyhow, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension's headed right now by Superintendent Drew Evans. He does an awesome job. There's a crime lab. They have a state-of-the-art crime lab, one of the best in the nation there as well. A variety of other functions, but statewide investigations, narcotics investigations, officer-involved shooting investigation, and then really their expertise is in their crime lab services. That building is there and on a beautiful expansion because of then Senator Randy Kelly. Senator Randy Kelly helped that thing get built. Well, there is no 1180, so it must be the same address where this other one was.
11s. Oh, that's right.
See if we can see either of those cars in the back. 5BG. What was that one plate that had like a 5B? Oh, no, it's not on there.
I did not have time to check this.
No, it's all right. We weren't sure how long we were going to be out here anyhow. It's not the taco truck, is it? Oh, it's the bookmobile.
163.
That's cool. They got the bookmobile over here.
Awesome program.
Just want to verify the
James
address
Lake Community Center, Neighborhood Community Center.
624 Summit, number 9.
Awesome job.
Copy.
Library staff. There's no plate on that car. I don't know if anybody steals a Buick anymore compared to what we're all stealing, but have a chat with them. What is that, a LeSabre, or what is that kind of?
I think it's a LeSabre. Maybe a Park Avenue.
You're the car guy.
Maybe a Park Avenue. Definitely a Buick.
A little different than a. Oh, he's got a yellow tag though.
Okay.
A yellow tag up there in the corner. We just got to tell them they got all new. They should, by now, nobody should have yellow tags. Oh. Saber. How's it going? How's that LeSabre driving? How's that Buick drive? Huh? How many miles you got on that? Those things last forever.
367.
Well, turn it on. Does it say on there?
Expired in October.
Who's that? Who's that with you there?
4496.
Do you know this? That temporary tag expired last October.
Boy, animal control. 670, you calling me?
I'm not going to run it, but that's a long time.
Affirmative. Area check 7th and Newcomb for dangerous.
Well, nobody was as nice as we are, though, right?
Buick, westbound on 7th.
No,
And
we're not supposed to.
7th, Papa Golf Echo, ran a red light.
There you have it, the friendly neighborhood guys. That's right. Uncover UC. All right, well, huh? You're good. Have a good one. You were good until I saw those jeans. What is that, a rhinestone cowboy, or what do you let me see those? Bring those over here. Holy mackerel, those are shiny. I like them.
Yeah, go to Trendsetters in BP.
Trendsetters, yeah.
They get you a little nice coat, the Warriors coat. You feel me?
Yeah, the coat's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. That's a gorgeous
Awesome.
coat. That's your sister, you said?
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
Hi.
I'm Bob. This is Pat.
Did y'all have on different shirts or something? Or y'all was wearing those? You had that hidden?
Some days we just change it. Whatever's clean.
Hey,
Whatever's clean, that's what we take.
You nice.
Well, thanks for saying that.
So are you guys.
Yeah, you are too. Yeah, I used to have a little Sabre. Those things last forever. It's like the car that never stops. Those Buicks.
Yeah, my car got towed. They plowed my shit in.
You love it, though.
They came and towed it. I'm Carlos and my brother.
Too much to get out?
I mean, not really, but it wasn't moving before it got towed. So I would have got it out, had to get it towed all the way to my house, then still get it. When I could just buy a new car, I spent $1,000 on a car. So
yeah. Isn't it a beautiful day? You know, right now it's 24 degrees, but you know what? Starting tomorrow, it's going to be 40 plus.
I thought we just was finna have a snowstorm.
We had it. That was it this morning.
Oh, that was weak.
That was it. But it's going to be 40 plus, and 3 days it's going to be 50 degrees or higher. Can you believe that?
Y'all be
You good? Have a good day, you guys.
See you guys.
I got a new line. You all be smooth. I'm always trying to be a trendsetter. My kid taught me that deuce thing, like when you're going to Dubai, deuce. My 15-year-old.
What do we wear? Whatever's clean. that was kind of smooth.
Well, it's easy to be smooth when you're being truthful. Oh.
279.
279.
Can you change our call to a PIC, please?
Copy 1628.
Well, I hope they don't tow any cars. I hope they don't do a snow emergency now, knowing it's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow.
2316, I'll replace
Right?
65
Yep.
on this call.
Should probably give Sheriff Hutchinson a call.
See what's going on over on the other side of the river.
236 West there.
You know, I'm looking forward to the day that everybody's vaccinated, or enough of us, and we can get some return to normalcy, aren't you?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Some return to normalcy.
Very nice.
I really can't wait.
Me either.
And if you haven't, if you just got home or you're tuning in, if you haven't shared this with your Facebook friends, please do, just because a lot of them aren't used to us just coming on suddenly. We're not used to it, right?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I've been watching that Lincoln. I told you I've been watching the Lincoln story, right? 4-part series on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
I watched. I don't know if it's 4. I watched the 3rd part last night. It's definitely worth the watch, and it's right when he takes office, the first month, and then shortly thereafter, these states are seceding from the Union, and they go over his inaugural speech, which for me, it's interesting. I love history, of course. But he took a train from Springfield all the way to D.C., and he traveled the northern states. The only southern one that he was going to be close to was Baltimore, and apparently there was rumors there was a group going to try to kill him in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So he snuck on a late-night train, disguised himself, and made it to D.C. with bypassing Baltimore.
Huh.
But I mean, it really wasn't Secret Service. He had one bodyguard. You think about it back then.
Yeah,
what a difference it was. But there was honor amongst politicians at that time. I mean, you know, Stephen Douglas, who he had run against, Lincoln was looking for some place to put his hat while he was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And Douglas stood up and offered to hold his hat for him. I mean, it was just that it was a concession that, you know, hey, I'm here to help.
Right.
And
2363. Clear June.
It's a different time.
Yep.
In terms of politics.
I just finished a 4-part
showing you en route to 2197
documentary on Ulysses S Grant.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
I have a newfound appreciation and respect for. I think he's unrecognized as perhaps one of our greatest presidents. So many of the things he did.
That was a tough era. Fill those shoes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Reconstruction.
347.
Changes to a civil to 2, please. Be clear with 345.
I do have to say, though, that every time I watch a documentary of the era, the atrocities of slavery,
yes,
become more striking. And
new message.
I struggle with those atrocities that this country was involved in.
2552.
Yeah, that isn't the main part of the thing, but there's a lot of experts in that field.
Well, that was one of the coolest things about him in my mind, was that, you know, the Klan came into being shortly after the end of the Civil War, and Grant essentially declared war on the Klan.
Awesome.
And when he died, I can't remember who was next in line as president, completely dropped all of that and let everything go back to basically the way it had been before.
Interesting.
Had Grant lived, had we kept troops down there,
like the bill, white versus
That movement would have been suppressed.
Yep.
Good to know. We got 2 of those cords. My phone's
I wasn't paying attention.
My phone's dead.
Yours is dead too?
Yeah. Out?
Mine is completely out.
I'm gonna stop at. I'm gonna get a 3rd cord at the speedway up here. Just keep yours plugged in. You're fine.
You have somewhere to plug it in?
Yeah, I got plenty of plugs like this one here. I got like what is that? Is that oh, that's the.
Okay, we've got the one that hooks up direct to the car.
Well, that too, but this is another one right here.
Okay, I'll sort that out.
Here, this is my Ulite one. Just to put that in there. The Ulite charger. By the way, for those of you that are wanting mental lights, it is an Ulite. What's the smaller version?
The Javelot Pro. Javelot Pro. And Ulite is one word, O, and then light, L-I-G-H-T.
360
Cedar Street. Right now I'm picking up. This is the main lobby, the landline.
We're
northbound on White Bear Avenue, coming up on Larpenteur. For those of you just getting home from work, welcome to Live on Patrol. Afternoon edition. We were testing out our equipment that failed the other night, but we're also here to announce the end of winter, March 1st, 2021.
And that is by declaration of the Ramsey County Sheriff.
There we have it. And normally it would be March 21st, but because it's the year 2021, it's ending on March 1st. How's that for logic?
I personally like that logic.
Going to be 40 degrees the next 10 days. 50 degrees, 3 of them. You okay staying here?
Yeah, I will catch up on some of these text messages.
Very good. Very good. I'll be right back with a 3rd cord.
So yeah, as of right now, we plan on being back Friday night. If something big happens, we may have a spontaneous one that you'll get notifications on if you have liked the Live on Patrol Facebook page or are a subscriber to the YouTube. Rutherford B. Hayes. Thank you, Beth. That was the president who followed Grant and set this country way back. Yep, we agree. Full moon brings them out.
Take me off the cab.
Copy.
Piece of trivia. The bodyguard for Lincoln was Pinkerton.
Both reporting similar instances. Male and female were physically fighting. One of the parties has said that the parties are separated now. Male was walking westbound on Hatch. Female was northbound down.
262 and finishing the
So that domestic call is a long ways off from us.
383.
Can you log me off so I can try and log back in?
360.
Oh, thanks, Adam. Okay, for YouTube, say like, share, and turn on that little
616 and hit and run /CDP at Lexington.
that little bell for notifications. That little bell symbol. Dave from the east side, thanks for being with us. Fort Myers, Florida. Former Rice Streeter is watching us. Thank you for being with us.
2364.
Well, someone says we're so funny, never a dull moment. Thanks for making me laugh. Well, I appreciate that. We both appreciate that. We're never quite sure if we're really funny or if we just think we're funny.
Maryland at Walgreens. staff is calling about 5 black females,
Gabby,
15
Judy
to
Rice,
25 years
Walter,
old,
check.
are attempting to walk out with several
A
items.
woman knocking on people's windows asking for help. Looks like she was running from someone, was crying. 30-year-old white female. Red.
Somebody asked if we have
gray
body
hoodie,
cams.
sweatshirt,
I'm a
brown
civilian
hair,
employee. No, I don't wear a body camera. When Bob is in uniform, he does.
The trail of parked tons of wood on the trail, and left one confronted by the caller. The Black Ford Expedition with Wisconsin Police. Alpha Charlie Bravo.
Brian in
45,
upstate New York, thanks for joining with
unknown
us.
direction of travel from County Road I.
And yep, we spotted that red minivan at those apartments we were at. That was not the one we were looking for. Thank you for pointing that out, though.
107 Mount Erie Street.
Hey, Butch.
Advising 1639.
385 showing en route to 61 and Burns for a dangerous.
Someone mentions they did not get the notification on YouTube. That may be your phone, because I personally did get the notification.
Episode and has taken over the house since last Friday. Crisis responded today, but the subject wouldn't open the door for him. The caller has a temporary protection in place.
Broomall, Pennsylvania. Hello. Joe in Sanford. Hello.
2123 Sherwood for covered property. 1640.
Regarding those sheriff's hoodies, we're working on a vendor for those. The last vendor we had is too busy making masks, so when those are available, we will let you know.
364.
364 from me out of admin, please. 15.
It's like
262.
Bob ran into a couple fans, and now that battery's getting low, but it's still got 20%.
Well, that was nice. A couple viewers that were there that stopped by to say hi.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Very nice. We appreciate that. Appreciate the positive vibes and feedback and friendship. That's been the hardest part, trying to get our heads wrapped around how nice people are, right? I mean,
kind of confirms what we knew.
Yeah, but now the numbers of people that are saying hi, that's just... All right, so yours is charging?
Mine is charging.
I'm going to put this one on mine. So that is a dead one.
And there is absolutely no way, we apologize, for us to send personal messages to anyone when we're going live. You're just going to have to watch for the notifications, folks.
Well, we can maybe do a warning that later in the day, but with our jobs, we just don't know when that's going to take place.
Right.
So I'm standing there buying this cord to get our phone plugged up, and this Reese's Big Cup is staring me in the face.
I think I'm a bad influence.
And I had to make up for the carrots and celery.
And Mark, when we were chatting to that Buick, we did see the red minivan. That was not the one we were looking for. Thank you for keeping an eye out, though.
Yeah.
And we are working on getting a signal booster.
We didn't buffer it all today, did we?
No. Regarding the focus on the camera, that's the first we've heard of that. We're watching it, or I'm watching it live also, and it's been crystal clear all day.
So the day shift is going home. Quarter to 5.
1159 East Minnehaha on a DOA. Medics are en route.
Have a good night.
1544.
Now we have one of our
Go ahead,
followers
97.
who actually did a genealogy and is actually a descendant of Ulysses S Grant. That is very cool.
23.
Well,
Copy at the PBN.
well, this kind of ties in with me especially, maybe you a little bit, but Skip in Tulsa is a retired police officer. He says we're ruining his retirement. He says he didn't miss the job at all until he started watching us, and now he wants back in. Well, Skip.
That's a good thing. Thank you. Thanks for your service.
340 for
Thank you for, yeah, definitely.
But it is kind of funny. You remember I mentioned to you the other day for the
344.
when I was gone for 3 or 4 years. For the first 2 years, I just forced my brain to disengage.
350 report. Copy 355.
And you enjoy part of that disengagement.
Yeah.
You know.
37.
And then after a couple years of disengagement, you say, what the heck am I doing with my life?
345.
Right.
So we get it, Skip. We get it.
Absolutely.
347.
Right now you're hearing the dispatcher check out all the cars that are going home.
Copy. Anyone else?
Make sure everybody's safe before they go home. Most of them are hovering around their precinct stations waiting for it to be cleared, and then they'll go in and store all their stuff, put all their equipment away. It's a lot more complicated now than when Pat and I are, because we had a shotgun locked in the trunk, but now there's semi-automatic weapons that need to be brought inside. Just more time to store all the equipment safely. But like we said, 4:30 is the time that things usually start picking up. So by 6 o'clock, though, you can kind of sort out who is the rush hour traffic and who are the troublemakers.
Right. You know, my biggest adjustment when I retired was not being...
What? Hey, wave to those guys.
Can we go around the corner?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll follow. Yeah, follow us.
Advising 911 hang up in the area, 873 Woodbridge. Kids hurt in the background. 1647.
Gentlemen would like us to pull around the corner, which we certainly aren't opposed to doing. Assuming he means us no ill harm.
I just talked to the caller. She is still on scene there. She's going to be parked down the hall down close to...
371 and I was glad to assist. 1350 Maryland, apartment 303 on the domestic. Comp's father is threatening to kill the comp. Father lives across the hall. His name is James Burrows. Comp is not cooperative and hung up.
371 copy.
I called it just in the...
Depending on how this goes, be ready with that.
Copy. Building appears secured. We're not seeing anyone. 370 is report.
Copy 370, 1648.
So we're going to stop here, and the gentleman would like to have a word with us.
Back 26 10th Street West. Condos. That's called NDOT. Unknown subject.
Case number 041 709.
Second floor.
Hopefully he's not mad at us.
1648.
I'm going to stay in our car for a little bit here, just to Assume good intent.
622.
622.
I'll be behind the apartment building with 938 Tango Hotel.
Ah, you're not that old. Don't be lying.
This call.
You look great.
Parking legally.
You look great.
Copy this late, and then copy code 4.
And then I got COVID.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, now you're probably immune. What do you got there?
Two things. One, when I left my house on Minnehaha and Clarence,
Yep.
I came across, and rainy, some guy comes about 60, makes a U-turn, comes back the other way, wipes out the sign of an expedition.
Oh.
I called it in, but she said, well, we'll let him know.
So what do you got? Is that got the plate?
This is GOA. We're going to head down to that.
Is that PCE?
PGE.
PGE? It's a Buick Maroon?
And the left corner panel.
What's this one here?
That's the one he hit, Chevy Equinox, I think.
But you did report it.
Yeah, I was following it. I don't know how he didn't hit something. He's going 80, just crazy in and out of traffic.
You were following him? Where did you last see him?
Arcade and about Hope. And
it's a maroon Buick.
And the left quarter panel's got a gray primer on it.
And is it like a car, like a LeSabre or parked?
Like two black. I think it was two. One in the passenger seat, you couldn't see him. The other one is just.
Let's do.
Well, you got it. You do got it. I want to take a picture of this. Well, we're gonna go look for that car.
Oh, well, I don't know. I've been carrying the stuff around in my truck. Stone Challenge investigation.
Yeah.
I got 3 brand new uniform jackets, no patches, $299. And I thought I drove by one at Dorothy Day when they.
Yep.
I don't know. I got these people. They probably throw them away.
No, at Dorothy Day they would use them.
They're in the back of my car.
They would use them.
You get someone patches that could get off, but I mean, they still got the tags on.
Well, they'll wear them. They'll wear them for. I mean, you want us to give them to the homeless?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do? Okay, I'll get them, and then thank you for that. We can get them. Those. If it's a good jacket, we'd be glad to do that. Yeah. No. Those blower jackets you guys wear are great.
4438, 4438.
You did.
4438. 4442.
Oh, this is very cool. This gentleman has some
Grandview, 911.
very warm winter jackets he wants to donate for the homeless.
Get it. Squad wrote earlier on a welfare check about parties possibly drinking.
622. 622.
4438.
Is there available PEO to come to that location?
42 copy.
Any PEOs on channel 2?
That's a 42. I'll go.
Thanks, sir. 42 copy, thanks.
Oh, I gotta get the.
Squad 690.
Hang on.
Thank you, 652.
I'll make. Oh yeah, I'll put it there. Thank you very much, Scott.
Squad 690 on channel 2.
Thank you.
89,
I have my back today.
1820. You got a counter to go there. Fourth and around. Just around the West.
I can have West check their channel to see if he can come over after he's done with the principal.
Glad to start for 4th and Earl.
I'll go to 1 and see if I can.
365. We're en route.
365's en route.
Thank you.
Thanks, they're all free.
We'll go find that car for you too.
Copy, they're up with 3.
No, we you know us. We're looking for something to look for all the time. So you did us a favor. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Very kind. Very nice, huh?
Yeah, very nice.
Got some nice jackets there from Talent Investigations that for the homeless. Very nice. Thank you very much, sir. It was nice of you to think of us.
832.
832.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That's really nice.
I'm sorry,
We're gonna go look for that. Put that on our list to look for that maroon Buick.
Yep.
And we'll take one more if someone's close. We're going to do an article check real quick.
Assisting medics at Wendy's, 255 Maryland for a slumper and a Navy.
What channel are you on there?
3.
Copy. I've got 365 en route. Did you need another one?
279, I copy.
Yeah, that'll work.
Crazy.
Let's check that out.
376 and all that. 4th and Earl.
4th and Earl.
376, copy.
Is there anything available to back 79?
Well, it was very nice to Talent Investigations.
Copy.
4th that vehicle.
We'll make sure a couple homeless people get those coats here this weekend. There's a nice coats.
832, checking your status, area code 4.
We're good. This is party here's got a Gross Smith pistol war.
Started off as a traffic
Copy,
stop,
code
so
4th and Earl.
I apparently think somebody tossed something.
Joseph.
Squad Joseph.
Create a call for HQ. Just an assist call. There'll be a gentleman waiting up front when there's a squad available if they can meet with them. He's looking for a ride down to Winter Safe Space.
Last night that you'll absolutely have to be at Winter Safe Space because, like I said, but it's still nice to be inside. But big cold tonight.
264.
I'm only able to update comments if you can just throw in a comment.
For those of you that aren't from Minnesota, I'm not saying we're going to get some more snow by declaring winter over here, because we have a state high school hockey tournament that usually runs the first or second weekend in March. This year it's been pushed back. And doggone it, if we don't get a major snowstorm every week of the high school hockey tournament,
Without fail.
I'll be shocked. And so here's the other thing you need to know. We have received 22 inches of snow in one day in April here in Minnesota.
Squad 622.
So it could be 50, 60 degrees in March, and all of a sudden April might dump 2 feet of snow on us.
No, that's all. My birthday is April 13th, and it's always a coin toss. It can be 80 degrees, or it can be a raging blizzard on my birthday.
The only question that remains unanswered on those April snowstorms is this. This is the toughest decision a human being has to make in Minnesota. Do you shovel it or do you let it melt? And I'm definitely in the let it melt category.
Oh, I'm definitely in the let it melt category.
It can be 2 feet of snow on April 22nd, which if you go back, check 1982, you'll see there was. But it's going to melt.
Right.
Well, there's one. Well, it's a Honda Odyssey, though.
Yep.
Not a Lincoln Town Car.
Or Town and Country.
Town Country. It did, however, not have any plates. Did see that, right?
I did notice that.
And it was in a little bit of a hurry, right?
A little bit of a hurry.
So for those of you that have been watching since 1:30, you'll see that things will just gradually pick up. We can turn the heat up 5 degrees now.
I would be very cool with that.
As soon as that sun gets below the trees, you can just feel a little bit of crispness coming.
Might have something in the window.
We should peek at this guy as we drive by.
Oh, got a 21 day. I'll tell him.
Just tell him to slow down a little bit too.
Okay, we'll meet you there.
Hey, what? Did they give you some notice on when you're getting your plates?
No, sir. They just told me that I had to wait until they come in mail.
Okay. Slow her down just a little bit, though, okay? All right, have a good one.
5269, copy that harassment. Phone call request.
Forrest Gump Street. Now, if I said this was named after Forrest Gump, would anybody believe me?
No one in the world.
No one would believe
Yeah, 1659.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Forrest Gump Street in that little place with the shrimp boat down in Mississippi that he wanted to visit his buddy at.
Hey, speaking of Forrest, do you remember that that show with the troop that was protecting the fort? What was the name of that called?
The name of that what?
Show. There was a TV show where they were
Oh, F Troop.
F Troop. F Troop. And there was an actor in there named Forrest.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker, right?
No. Forrest Whitaker's the new guy. Forrest Tucker.
Forrest Tucker.
Yep.
Now here's the question. Trivia question. How do you spell Forrest when it's Forrest Tucker?
I think it's a one R.
Well, see, you got to check it right now.
All right.
Because this is how I remember how to spell Forrest the Street.
513 at channel 1.
Forrest Tucker, he was the sergeant in F Troop, right?
Yep. 2 R's.
2 R's. And I used to live over here off of Forrest, and I used to write 2 R's, and I said, what the heck am I thinking? I'm thinking of Forrest Tucker. So now I know it's not Forrest Tucker's 2 R's, it's 1 R, right?
Right.
So, there you have it. Forrest Tucker with 2 R's.
1015 Edgerton for recovered bike at 1702.
I suppose we could just... That's weird, huh?
Yeah. I have no idea why that happened.
I think it continued though, right?
Looks like it. The feed suddenly stopped for one reason, and we have no idea why. So we had to restart it.
Quiet enough, there's no need to restart it.
She says she sees you right now and she's waving her hand in the air. She's coming to the front.
Copy. Tell her to stay in the front. I'll come up there.
Sorry about that.
Did you see the squads back at
Squad
4th?
206.
The squad's what?
Oh, we're on Forest. 4th and
I'm told 29, looking for a phone call now.
Well, we can go over there. I was figuring they probably got that. Stop over there.
Thank you, 1704.
Say hi to the gang unit anyhow.
Clear over here.
Is it still?
If you go now.
I'm trusting my life with you. It's a bright sun there, so it's tough to see around some of these corners.
New message. New message.
So, maroon Buick.
287, we're going to clear the house.
New message.
Copy that. You want the ear?
Negative.
Copy that. Clearing the house. 1705.
Somebody's going to jail. Apparently someone's going to jail.
2364.
Supposedly the officer said they had some warrants on them.
Police with assistant 448. Connor with J for medical. 55-year-old female conscious breathing full.
6-4 copy only cars.
726.
What's going on, real police? What's going on? Gross misdemeanor warrant or what?
What's happening?
368 copy the lockout.
Oh, you forgot a firearm? Good work.
Nice.
Good work.
When you're
Good work.
locked inside of a vehicle.
Good work. What association we got going here? Either way? I mean, east or west?
I think you just, I don't know.
That one looks familiar. Were they down by the memorial or not?
No.
No?
We just happened to see a car that U-turn. That's it. Nothing crazy.
You guys are good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
181.
Can you change the address to 651 Sherburne, please?
So they got a gun.
651 Sherburne, copy.
Section 98, Talisman Curve. Have a assist fire for
Work,
an
huh?
player.
Yeah. Gang and gun unit does some really good work.
Bravo 35, I just arrived at Cobb here for off duty, and I have a patient, one in an ambulance. Can you start medics? 51-year-old male, conscious breathing. His chief complaint is an infection in his foot. 287.
Copy, scene 6 minutes.
287.
Affirmative. Male.
Well, that is about the most serious of things we've seen today, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's about it.
That's frozen.
Well, I think what we should do, Patrick, I think we should
4431, 4420.
log off for 10 minutes,
Okay.
maybe longer. I'll tell you what, we are going to log off till 5:30. All right, we're going to be back at 5:30. 22 minutes of break. You can get a little dinner. If something happens before then,
1255 Sherburne.
we got to make a few business. I have to make a few business calls. Make sure the department is running, and we'll be back at 5:30.
We'll see you at 5:30, folks.
5:30.
Finishing up with a gun arrest.